It's a new time, a new place. But these guys have done this before.
I had no idea we were going to draft Blaine Gabbert. Did your jaw just drop?
Yeah, it did. Did you sense the silence?
I doubt Gene Smith was on Twitter.
I don't know. You never know, man. Gene Smith might have a couple burner accounts out there.
You look at these media guys. These are the weakest people on earth.
Why
do I think he's talking to me and not 6'6", 245 Austen Lane
Brent, are you listening right now?
It's Austen Lane.
You're taking away my comfort food in the most uncomfortable year of all time.
It's Brent Martineau.
We call it a Minshew Monday here on Action Sports Shacks. But those are more crapshoot picks, man. I mean, you can get Telvin Smith and you can get, oh, yeah.
From Jacksonville to wherever you stream, watch, and listen. Welcome to the Brent and Austen Show.
And welcome to Indianapolis, Indiana. Hey, everybody. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane. Brent and Austen Show with Jason Hamby back in the studios with Austin. Marcel Robinson out here with me. And we've got ourselves a NFL Combine 2024. We've been here before many a times. And here we are again for basically just a day. We have Doug Pederson, Trent Baalke talking today, 12:30 and 1 o'clock. We'll have a chance to go one-on-one, it looks like, with Doug Pederson as well in between all of that. So maybe we can even bring you that later on in the show. But it's going to be a little bit of story time today with Austen Lane because he knows all about this from an athlete standpoint. There's really a couple of different things going on in Indianapolis. There is the athlete standpoint, which really kicks off the evaluation process to a new level outside of what these guys did in college. But also, this is a convention of NFL people. I mean, the who's who of NFL people, except some coaches. For some reason, all of a sudden the coaches have said, you know what, we don't need to go here. Let's throw it back to Jacksonville and Austen Lane. And what does that tell you a little bit, Austin, about the fact that some of the coaches are not here in Indianapolis?
Yeah, it tells me that Indianapolis is not a cool place to visit, I guess. I mean, I feel like if this was in Vegas, every single coach would probably be there. This is in Hawaii, the coaches would be there. No, I just think that in terms of being there in person, I think for the interview process, it obviously helps. But when you're talking about watching the drills and everything, what you can see inside that stadium for the 40-yard dash, for the shuttle, for all the NFL-specific drills, you can see just as fine, if not better, on video. So I just think there's not a lot to gain from being there in person unless you want to kind of vet some of these players and interview them. But keep in mind, there's official visits, there's things like that as well, so the coaches can definitely pick these players' brains later on in this draft process.
Well, let me ask you this, because this is going to be story time with you quite a bit today, and you've been here. So, again, you've got the player's perspective. We're talking about it from a coach front office perspective, and Doug Pederson is here. He chose to come with Trent Baalke and I'm assuming a lot of other staff of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you were going through this process, did you talk to coaches a lot, or did you talk to mostly scouts and GMs?
So it all kind of varies, right? Like I had a unique circumstance where I was coming from a smaller school. So like, for instance, if you're coming from Alabama, scouts are coming in and out every single day for practice during the regular season. Back when I played, I'm not sure if it's changed now, you can actually talk to the scouts, meet with the scouts, and get on the board. So by the time you get to the combine, it's more of you talking to the coaches then, just because the scouts have kind of done their due diligence and done their homework on you already. With me, it was different being such a small school where, some scouts would come through, but not every scout. So for me, it was a lot of meeting with scouts, meeting them for the first time, and then also meeting with some coaches as well. And at least from my standpoint, there was nothing more stressful than getting in front of an entire team at a round table, lights, right in your face, like you're getting interrogated essentially, and they're kind of bringing up questionable things from your past. Being the good old Wisconsin boy that I am, there was a couple issues that I had to address, so that was a little awkward. But hey, we got through it. We move, and we were on to the next thing.
We move. What was going on in the back 40?
Yeah, exactly.
Wisconsin.
No, for sure.
They wanted to know the details.
Yeah.
Maybe they wanted to go sometime.
Yeah.
That might have been it. So, it's a fascinating process. All right, we're going to talk all around this thing. I mean, we're here, and obviously the Jags will talk today, and that's going to be a big part of it. That's really the reason we are here. we do have a couple of local guys that will be here throughout the week, but not a ton like we've had in the past. So we're not staying for long on this. We're going to come in and out and get the Jags stuff and get out of here. But from a Jags perspective, Austin, now that you just gave us a little bit of the player side, from the Jags perspective, what are they trying to accomplish here over these next few days? Like, what are they learning? How critical of the process do you think this is here in Indianapolis?
I mean, it's going to be super critical for this Jaguars team just because a lot of the guys going forward now are going to be dependent on who they take in this draft, right? And there are some holes that need to be filled. We talk about this all the time. The interior on both sides of the ball. We're talking about wide receivers. We're talking about cornerbacks. There's a lot of positions right now that need to be addressed, and everything kind of offers its own little unique skill set here at the Combine. Obviously, you talk about offensive linemen, it's going to be hard to gauge exactly, how good can an offensive tackle or offensive guard block in pass coverage, right? In pass rushing, just because you're not going to simulate that drill at the Combine. But then when we talk about cornerbacks and we talk about wide receivers, this is a chance for them to showcase their footwork, to showcase their route running, to showcase their defensive skills, their ball skills, and all of that. So while the big men, in terms of the NFL-specific drills, you can see a lot. You can't see everything. But this is more geared towards that skill position, which, hey, let's be honest, the Jaguars need some of that as well.
Yeah, that's a good look at it, right? I mean, it's some of these guys, the way they run, some of the strength stuff, some of the you can check boxes. I really look at this as a check the boxes kind of week, and it's really not even for me. And I'm not telling you I'm right. I've just always had this outlook that the bench press, which used to be right over there, I'm assuming it's right over there again. I haven't even seen it, but the 40 time, the throwing, the catching, some of these things, some of the drill stuff, I think is far less important than the medicals. Ton of MRIs will be done by a bunch of teams, including the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars will have their doctors here to do that. And so you red flag people. And then the interviews. I mean, you get a chance to spend 15 minutes in this high, stressful situation with some of these players, and I think you probably learn a lot. I think you probably learned a lot, Austin, when you were going through it, and my guess is the teams will learn a lot about some of these prospects as well. It's not the end-all, be-all, but it's certainly something.
No, it's definitely something, and obviously that medical process is a big part as well. And when you talk about the medicals, I mean, obviously sometimes things don't get reported at college. You go there to the Combine, it's like you're a piece of cattle. You're wearing your spandex shorts in front of a room of 32 doctors from, 32 different teams. And you're standing there while they poke and prod at you. You're laying on the table. They're more poking, more prodding, laying on your stomach, more poking, more prodding. And, I mean, for me, I was fairly healthy. I had a slight MCL tear, nothing too serious. Just the occasional nicks here, nicks there. Well, no, I mean, honestly, like a partially torn MCL for a college career is nothing compared to some guys. So, I was happy with that. But once again, I mean, they said my shoulder stability was a little off. Okay, so we have to get a MRI on my shoulder. I had to get an MRI on my knee. So when it was all said and done, and keep in mind, every team has an option to request an MRI. I had a total of 8 MRIs that I had to get done for my Combine process, simply for my knee and then a shoulder that they said was a little, sketchy. But every team can request that. So it's one of those things where it's definitely it's a long, drawn-out experience. And keep in mind sometimes, too, this is how these teams operate. This is what I was told by my agent as I was coming out of college. Teams will just say that you need extra MRIs or extra X-rays just to maybe put a little smoke out there saying, this guy might be a little hurt than he's kind of, letting on. And teams can use that in terms of hopefully our guy can drop a little bit and then we can snag him because other teams could be turned off by his injury history. So not only are you evaluating players here, but I feel like there's also kind of a cat and mouse, kind of a chess-like game going on too in terms of throwing the smoke out there for some of the guys that you're interested in.
Yeah, that's all of that stuff. So many things that caught my attention there. But you're really a pawn in their game. I mean, that's really what you are with the smoke screens and other things. But I got to believe this, Austin, when you only had to do 8 MRIs, that's not bad. And comment about this. What is shoulder balance or something? I've never even heard of that.
Shoulder, basically, it was just, it's the testing, right? So if you're out of alignment, if you're you have a lot more strength in one shoulder than the other side, well, that can lead to impingements and that can lead to unbalancing. So then they got to see, okay, is this due to just being unbalanced, or there's an injury behind this, right? So like these team doctors here are essentially they're looking at you and they're trying to break down exactly, okay, well, why is his hip tight like this? Why is his calf not that mobile? It's so intricate of what these doctors go into. But keep in mind, I mean, yes, the players there, they are like pawns, right? But you're getting poked and prodded because these teams are going to spend millions and millions of dollars on you, hopefully, and they're trying to cover all their bases and make sure that what they're getting is a quality product. And it's funny that I'm referring to players as quality products, but that's essentially what you feel like when you're standing there in your underwear, and you just got to do what they tell you to. Don't really feel human,
Was that the most uncomfortable part, or did you not care?
Oh no, the uncomfortable. I mean, for me, you know how I'm rocking Brent. Like I got no problem showing it. Hey, we're talking about going streaking for a game and putting some money down on me. So I'm not worried about standing there in my underwear in front of a couple doctors. That was fine. But the more stressful process for me, and which we'll break down later on in the show here, was the psychological evaluations. Go figure. And some of the questions that I was asked, and also some of the team meetings when I had to sit down with coaches. And just how those interviews went for me.
Yeah, so, I didn't think you'd have a problem being in your underwear, considering you kind of are now in your other job.
Oh, I am right now, honestly. Like, I mean, you're not here today. I have the studio all to myself. Like, yeah, I'm wearing a shirt. I'm still professional. But, hey, bottoms out, man. It is what it is.
I love when wearing a shirt is professional. Like, that's the barometer.
For sure.
I love all the different technicalities here that we'll get from the shoulder imbalance. I really just look at you now as a car. You're out of alignment.
No, exactly.
This is a heck of a week where all that stuff goes on, and it really it kicks off the evaluation process for so many. Like I said, the next step. But let's not lose sight of one thing, and I believe even small school Austen Lane from Murray State, the tape still tells the story, right, Austin? Like all the last year and a half, these guys have been going to college games. They've been watching other players. Most of the players are going to come from big-time Division I schools, we think, the SEC, the Big Ten, against high-quality competition. Like, that tape still wins the day, right?
The tape to me is everything. I think any scout, any GM is going to tell you that the tape is the most important thing. Because that's what you're going to be doing at the NFL level, of what you show on tape. They always say the eye in the sky doesn't lie. So if you have good tape out there, if you show good technique, if you're hustling around, you're not loafing as they call it, coaches are going to love that. Now, if you show some, like say you're slacking off for a couple plays, right? Well, then in an interview process, that'll be addressed. Hey, why are you slacking here? Why are you doing it this way? And then, players, depending on how they answer that question, will either get the coach's attention in terms of taking responsibility or coming up with excuses, and maybe that coach says, you know what, he's not made for our team. So, yeah, the film is definitely the most important part. The film gets the scout's attention, and then what you do at the combine only reassures that. Now, there's some anomalies, right? Like, I think of a guy like Micah Parsons, right? Micah Parsons on film, obviously he was a beast, but at the same time, when you run whatever, a 4.2, whatever it was, I ran in the 40-yard dash of the combine, well, now everyone's going, all right, let me go and watch some more Micah Parsons because this dude is unreal. So sometimes there's anomalies where it's like, all right, we have to go back and watch this guy. A great example would be the dude from UConn that had the crazy broad jump of like 12-something, went to the Cowboys. Byron Jones, was it, Brent?
You put me on the spot, but sure.
Okay, sorry, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to talk through it. I think it was Byron Jones. Yeah, got drafted by the Cowboys.
It is. Hey, good call. 12-3 broad jump.
Yeah, so but Byron Jones, I mean, this was a guy coming from a smaller school in UConn, not necessarily known for their football prowess as much as their basketball prowess, comes out, jumps a 12-3 or whatever it was, sets the record for the broad jump. Well, now all of a sudden there's a lot of hype around Byron Jones, and, I mean, I'm not sure how scouts felt about him going into the combine, but after that combine, he was a bona fide first-round pick, goes pick 27 to the Dallas Cowboys. So there's definitely ways that you can make some money here. Speed, obviously, athleticism can be a showcase for you, but very rarely are you ever going to put on a performance where it's going to drop you so much. right? Like, yeah, maybe if you're a smaller school guy and there's not a lot of good film. But, I mean, if you're a first-rounder coming into this, you go to a Power 5 school, maybe you had a bad day, you ran a bad 40, you had a bad shuttle. Like, that's not going to drop you down too much because, keep in mind, players have a chance to make up for that at their pro days as well.
Okay, so a couple of things about that. You're right. Byron Jones was the guy. You actually had a very good broad jump, right, at the Combine?
Yeah, so I had the highest of any defensive lineman, and then I was second for defensive linemen and linebackers because when I trained as a linebacker and a defensive end. And this goes to show you the tomfoolery that goes down sometimes at Combines where it's like, oh, it's this professional setting and all these guys are here to – no. I did my broad jump, happy with it. I think it was like a 10-3 or something like that. Really excited about it. Jumped out of the gym, as the coaches would say. And then all of a sudden, Coy Misi, who I'll never forget from Utah – great guy. You know, I mean, I saw him all week, so, like, you know, we kind of became friends and everything. Coy Misi goes, hey, what did Austen jump? Because he's right, you know, because it goes alphabetically, right? So it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. So, like, I'm going, and then Coy is right after me. Coy goes, what did Austen jump? And the guy, the scout that was running the thing from the Steelers goes, he jumped a 10-3. Coy goes, can you mark it for me? And the guy's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So now he has, like, a marker of what he has to jump over. And I'm watching this, I'm like, he can do that? The scout's like, why not? I go, oh, okay. So then, cool. So then, like, he had a marker of, like, where I jumped so he knew what to get to. And then, obviously, he beat my jump on his last jump, and then he got the highest out of linebackers and defensive linemen. So, like, that kind of pissed me off a little bit. No accountability from that Steelers coaching staff, but whatever, man. Give him the title. I don't care.
Well, the one I wanted to ask you about, though, you mentioned Byron Jones, and he jumped like a 12-3 or something crazy.
Yeah.
You know, as good as yours was, that's still like, 2 feet difference. So and that's what opened everybody's eyes. But should they have, should that have pushed him into the first round? Should something like that have had been weighed so heavily? Because if you look at his career, you know, he spent time with the Cowboys, and then he gets a big contract with the Dolphins. But with the Dolphins, he was, I think, just okay, Austen. Like, I mean, made the Pro Bowl with the Cowboys in 2018. He was a second-team All-Pro guy. So, like, 2018 was a really good year. Was it worth it for them to move up to the first round to get Byron Jones based on his career performance and really something that shoved him up maybe higher here at the Combine?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a second-team All-Pro in 18 and a Pro Bowl in 2018. You know, I mean, this was a guy who played both cornerback and safety, kind of a versatile player. Was it worth it where he was taken? Well, you'd say probably not. But this is what coaches get infatuated with. This is what GMs and scouts get infatuated with, right? They see the numbers. They see the broad jump, right? So you got to ask, how does a broad jump relate to the on-the-field ability? And any coach or any scout's going to tell you the broad jump is a good example of explosiveness, right? You have to have great hips, you have to have great intensity, great explosiveness in order to jump long. Simple as that. When you talk about a cornerback, when you talk about a safety position, you have to have great hips. You have to have the ability to read and react. So, like, that was direct correlation from the broad jump to what coaches saw. And keep in mind, this was a broad jump that, like, 12-3 is ridiculous. For anybody that, like, can't comprehend that, I mean, if you're a cornerback and you're in the 10s, you're doing pretty well for you. This guy added another 2 something and some change to that. So, like, that's absolutely ridiculous. And then I mean, all the other numbers look pretty dang good, too. He ran a 4.3. So, like, he had all the athletic intangibles, 6 feet, you know, maybe a little on the shorter side for a safety. I'm sorry, 6'1". It says 6 feet at the Combine. You know how that goes sometimes. People want to shortchange themselves. But overall, I mean, the athletic numbers were off the charts, right? A 44-inch vertical. So coaches can see that and be like, okay, this guy is a world-class athlete. I can take that athleticism, despite of what he shows on film, despite what kind of football IQ he has, and I can make him into the player that I want him to be. And sometimes that works, Brent, and sometimes it doesn't.
And sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, I guess we have enough data, right? I mean, and that's probably what you're going to end up with. Sometimes that's a good move that you went back and looked at the tape and shoved them up on your board, and other times it's like, yeah, probably shouldn't have done that. So we'll see how it shakes out this year. And what I wonder, and we don't really have this data in front of us, is that becoming more, with all the data people have now, with all the analytics, with the years and years of experience in doing events like this for front office personnel, are they better at it than they used to be? You would kind of hope so, but I don't know if that is clear-cut or not. The Brent and Austen Show, Brent Martineau here in Indianapolis. We're live at the NFL Combine. Doug Pederson, Trent, Baalke talk today. Austen Lane, Jason Hamby back in the Action Sports Shack studios. Let's take our first time out in the morning, and when we come back, of course, we're talking more Combine, more stories from Austin. What should we expect from Doug Pederson and Trent Baalke today, and what else is happening here in Indianapolis? That is coming up next here on the Brent and Austen Show, here on a Tuesday, and we go live, by the way, tomorrow on our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 stream, which means download the Action News Jacks Now app, and you'll be able to get us on a bunch of other platforms than you already do on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. We are in Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Stadium, the place the Jags started the season last year and now start their offseason here in 2024. Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Bartram branch, the one I usually come to. And they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans. And I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
Start your morning right. Start your morning right.
A new day, a new traffic headache. But Action News Jack's traffic expert, Maritza Ross, is here to guide all kinds of daily drivers, like the traffic dodgers,
Don't worry, I'm going to get you around this mess on I-95.
the side street seekers,
Now you can exit early on 17 due
the
to...
last-minute leavers.
If you're getting a late start this morning, here are your fastest routes.
So let Maritza save you time on Action News Jax this morning.
Start your morning right.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather gonna be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather going to be like?
I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, a little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jacks.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players. They will take care of you, too. Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville. FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years, and they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area. If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI. Go where all the pros go.
When the sun sets and night begins, Action News Jax is working to bring you the big, important stories at 11 you need to know about.
Live in downtown,
from Orange Park,
from the South Side,
from all over Jacksonville, we keep you informed on local news happening now and get you ready for what's next tomorrow.
Plus, Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish has the area's most accurate forecast to help you plan for the day ahead.
Live at 11, it's worth staying up for CBS 47 Action News Jax.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Coming soon, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Well, here's a look at Indianapolis, Indiana, inside the convention center across from Lucas Oil Stadium. And this is the scene. This is what the NFL Combine looks like. There's a bunch of podiums set up. There's a bunch of the big networks set up. The who's who of the NFL, really. If you see your favorite national media personalities, they're here. Your coaches and GMs and front office people, they are most likely here, although some coaches are not. And everybody's setting up, and now currently, this was from a few minutes ago, currently we do have coaches already talking, and Doug Pederson will take podium number 4 at 12:30. Trent Baalke will follow at 1 o'clock. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show. Brent Martineau, along with Austen Lane, of course, who has been here at the NFL Combine in a different capacity than I've been here at the NFL Combine. Jason Hamby along with us as well. And I do want to tell you, Austin, that this show today from the NFL Combine is brought to you by a surprise sponsor, whoever makes the toilet paper here at the convention center, or Kleenex. So apologies if you just sit there and watch the stream. The over-under on how many times I have to, dab the nose today so you don't just see straight snot running from my nose is probably a lot. So apologies in advance, but hopefully you're just listening and not always just watching, although we like you to watch too, especially when we call on you to watch. But holy cow, man. I had once in a while I get, especially this time of year, I think it's the oak pollen down back home in Jacksonville that really gets me. And I've been pretty good overall. I think I had a bad day in January, and then it's been kind of cool in Jacksonville. Well, we were up in Georgia for a baseball game on Saturday, and that wind was blowing. It was 25 miles an hour. Sunday was a very nice day, so it's getting a little warmer in Jacksonville, which means that pollen starts coming out a little more. And, oh, boy, did I pay the price yesterday and into last night and into this morning. I think I'm on the back side of it, but it knocks me out for 24 hours, man. So deal with it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess that's why. Let's go to the kids' corner really quick with Jason Hamby over there. Is that why we had to resize the screen so now me and Brent are on the same level? Because the last segment, I was in a tight little corner there in the top right. Brent was like Beyonce, and I was like Kelly Rowland, and I was a little disappointed. But now we're kind of back to being equal. Actually, I'm leaning now. I'm in the top. Oh yeah, get him out of here. Get that runny and stuffy nose out of here, Brent. No one's trying to see that snot today. Trying to see some of those.
Oh, you just eliminated me. That might be the best way to go.
Should have wore white today, man.
The
The black kind of covers it up
today.
a little bit. Yeah, I hear you.
Who's the guy talking is what they'll ask. You're looking good. What do you got on there, by the way? Is this all UFC clothing?
Well, yeah, I'm not paying for it, that's for sure. Yeah, so every come on. So every fight because I had a teammate as well and everything, so they always give you kind of free gear. So I'm really maximizing my free gear because stuff my size is kind of hard to find. And when it comes to clothing and fashion, I'm not the most, affluent, the most expensive guy when it comes to that with expensive taste. So, yeah, I'm a little more on the economical side, let's just say. Or, if you want to say like Stuart Weber, I'm really cheap.
Yes. I like that you referenced Stewart there. He's
man.
strays and he doesn't even know it.
We're all
probably does
cut
know.
from the
He'll
same
chime
cloth,
in
man.
with it.
Hey, I got nothing but respect for him, man. We're cut from the same cloth.
So what was the swag bag like at the Combine? Was it pretty good?
Oh, the swag bag was insane. Yeah, I remember, I even, obviously, viral, doing videos back then wasn't a thing yet, right? Like, posting them on Twitter and Instagram. But I made a video of all my swag and sent it back to my friends because it was, really the first time that I ever got, a swag bag, right? Like, I didn't play any bowl games, obviously. I mean, Murray State was a great place to play, but we weren't going to the Outback Bowl or anything anytime soon. So this was my first time getting a backpack full of really cool stuff, so I was super excited.
Yeah, that's there's something about that. You're about to maybe go to the NFL, and obviously you're coming out of Murray State, so anything for free is good. We just love swag bags. Like, I don't think it matters how much money you have. I think people love swag bags. It's like people love a free T-shirt for some reason. I don't understand why it is, but it's just something in our DNA. It's in something in our makeup that if you give me something for free, I'm at least interested in it. Now, will I use it? We get this a lot at golf tournaments and stuff. It's like, okay, what do I do with all this stuff? But at the outset of it, when you hand me the bag, I'm like, oh, cool. This is great.
Yeah.
Right? So we love that stuff. I would imagine the NFL swag bag has got to be pretty good. Probably even better than when you got yours back in 2010. Man, that's been a long time ago, almost 15 years ago. You were here
Thanks,
at the
Brent.
NFL Combine.
Yeah, I feel old. Thank you very much.
Wow, it's pretty wild. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. We got some comments in the chat, so they're asking about specific guys.
Okay.
They're also asking, is it true that Austin challenged Baalke to a cage match? I don't think he did.
Well, I was gonna, but Brent told me to stop because then the money wouldn't be coming in anymore. So, it is what it is. Thank Brent Martineau for that fight not going down.
Had to pull back on that one. Bets are Troy Franklin. They're at 17. We like him. Brent, hello. Here's Steve. What I would like to hear is we're close on a deal with Josh. Just a few details to iron out, but we'll get it done before the tag deadline. We can use it on Ridley, but I highly doubt it. Well, that's good, Steve. I'm glad that you set yourself up for reality there because, yeah, I highly doubt it as well. I think it says Jeremy here, so if we sign Ridley, we have to give up a second-round pick. But what happens if you tag him, and tagging him would be okay? It's an extension that is really where the second-round pick kicks in from everything we understand. So, and then, of course, there are some other things that go into play of when you sign the extension. I think that's what Daniel jumps into. It depends on when Ridley signed the tag. If he signs it before June 2nd or after, before June equals a second, after would be a third. So the calendar then comes into play a little bit as well. So thanks for the clarification there, Daniel Kilkenny. We hope you're right.
Real quick,
Brent Martineau, Austen Lane.
I was going to say a little bit about Troy Franklin since we're getting a little appetizer of some Shock Your Mock, I guess, coming out pretty soon. Troy Franklin, the wide receiver out of Oregon. Interesting prospect, 6'3", 180. Now, keep in mind, these are the pre-combine numbers, so we'll see how everything shakes out here. But, a taller receiver has comparisons to Chris Olave, who, I think in the right system, Chris Olave can shine. I think when you're playing sometimes with Taysom Hill and, if your boy Derek Carr gets hurt, he doesn't get featured as much. But scouts are saying that obviously he can be a good route runner, decent speed, good internal burst. The weaknesses, though, interesting, are the fact that he could struggle with physicality and he has below average strength. So, with a guy like this, I'm not saying, once again, the bench press is the end-all, be-all because it's not in terms of measurement, but I'm curious to see, okay, can this guy get on the bench press, knock out a couple reps, and then let's see what he's got from there. But I always, when it comes to wide receivers, Brent, I always take it with a grain of salt when they say they're not physical enough or they can get bodied around. I remember reading Puka Nakua's draft profile last year saying how he wasn't the best route runner and he can get kind of bodied around sometimes even though he's got a pretty big frame. Well, we all watched Puka Nakua this past season, and the guy had no problems in terms of his size and stature running over people like a bowling ball of butcher knives, to comment on Maurice Jones-Drew. So,
well, it's interesting you bring up a couple of those guys. I mean, isn't that really what it's not just this process is, but that's what you're trying to find out. You're trying to find the next Puka Nakua, right? In reality? Here at the Combine?
Well, yeah, but if it was only that easy, though, right? Because Puka went fifth round, I think?
Fifth round. Yeah, fifth round
was
guy.
It?
Okay, fifth round guy.
Pretty sure it's fifth.
Okay. I think Hamby's going to check that out too as well to confirm. But yeah, I mean that's what you want, right? But at the same time, you got to trust when Sean McVay got his guy. Look what he did with Cooper Kupp, right? Look what he did for a little bit with Tutu Atwell. I just feel like some systems are so suited for players to succeed, and I think the wide receiver position in a Sean McVay offense is just suited to succeed, just because I think McVay knows exactly how to get the best out of his receivers, and that was the thing with Puka Nacua. They didn't ask him to be a true number one on the outside, running fly routes the entire time. No, they got him the ball in space, they let him work and run over people, and that proved to be a pretty good thing for Los Angeles going forward now.
Yeah, fifth round, pick 177.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the steal, right, or one of the steals of the draft this past year. But Austin, like the speed was a problem for a guy like Puka Nacua, but everybody was like, okay, speed. But what about the toughness? Nobody really thought about that part. He's a big guy, like you said, who can run over people. He can play the physical part of the game. Where are we at right now in the landscape of the NFL when it comes to speed kills? Speed wins the day versus physicality, because it's a big question we have in Jacksonville right now about being more physical. Now, I think we're asking it at positions you want to be more physical inside the trenches for the most part, but you can be physical in other areas of the game too.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, it felt like everything was transitioning. Speed. Tyreek Hill. Find that guy. And I think that's why a guy like Puka Nacua goes to the fifth round, and everybody's wrapped up in the speed traits rather than the physical traits. Can he play the position? Maybe he's got a good football IQ. How does he fit in your system instead?
Well, I mean, to me, it goes hand in hand, Brent, right? Because you can have great speed. You can have that Tyreek Hill-like speed, but not be a great wide receiver. You know, I mean, a guy that sticks out to me, this is probably, 8-9 years ago now, maybe even longer, was John Ross. Wide receiver. I forgot where. I think he's from out of Washington.
Tennessee.
I can't remember where. Tennessee. Okay, I think Tennessee. Wide receiver.
Well, I mean, he was drafted by Tennessee. I think he was out of Washington.
I thought he was drafted by Cincinnati.
Drafted by the Bengals, 9th overall
Brent,
from
the allergies are getting to you.
Washington.
Oh, Brent, the allergies are getting to you, man. Oh, he just ran the table.
2017.
Oh, what is that? 5, 6? Like I said, it was like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Oh man, Brent. Hey, go ahead and take some Claritin. Hey, go ahead and take some Claritin real quick, and let me go ahead and preach some knowledge real quick. So,
yeah, when we talk up in Tennessee, my bad.
No, wasn't even on the docket. So when we talk about a guy like John Ross, runs a 4.2, yeah, there was so much intrigue with that speed, but he could never put it together, right? Because you still have to be able to run routes. You still have to be able to create separation. Yeah, you can have all the speed in the world, but if you can't create separation and run a crisp route, that doesn't matter. So you take a guy like Tyreek Hill, obviously elite, Olympic levels type of speed, but he also is a good route runner, right? He's also has great instincts. And for being his height, like you see his height, it's like, okay, that's not the prototypical NFL receiver. It doesn't matter because what he lacks in height, he obviously makes up with his agility and his speed. But you can still have a guy like DeAndre Hopkins who ran a 4.57 at the combine. Like, if you have a wide receiver who ran a 4.57 to be a true number one, you're questioning that a little bit. But what does Hopkins have?
Yeah.
Once again, great route running, and despite kind of his tall, lanky frame, he's a very physical receiver as well. So it does take all types, Brent. But what it comes down to me more than anything, it's the route running ability, and if you are a big body receiver, using that physicality as well.
Here's a few guys, by the way, that ran slow times at the NFL Combine over the years from the receiver position. Larry Fitzgerald, 4.63. Jerry Rice, 4.71. Chris Carter, 4.63. Anquan Bolden, 4.71. And Chad Johnson, 4.57. We got a couple of honorable mentions, by the way, in here in this article that I just found. Brandon Lloyd, Hines Ward, Brandon Marshall, Dez Bryant was a 4.52, and even Antonio Brown was a 4.47.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, some of the greats of all time have not been fast.
Well, I was going to say, arguably the greatest of all time, and Jerry Rice ran a 4.7?
4.71.
Is that what that was? 4.71. Yeah. So there you go. NFL wide receiver, or any kind of wide receivers out there that want to be the next Jerry Rice. you don't have to be the quickest, but obviously route running, ball catching ability, and instincts have to be in the elite category, and Jerry Rice had all those, obviously.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah, so I think that's a delicate balance right now, size versus strength. I'm sorry, speed versus strength. I think we can get caught up in speed. We're impressed by speed. We're wowed by speed. But it's still a very physical game, even at the skill position. And, again, when you talk about physicality, that's what maybe the Jaguars are after the most here. And look forward to asking Trent Baalke and Doug Pederson about that. Like, how do you identify that? Have they been good enough at identifying the physical traits of especially guys in the trenches, but even maybe guys outside the trenches in these last couple of years, because it certainly feels like that's where the Jags have to get a lot better. All right, we take a break. We're back in Indianapolis in the NFL Combine in just a couple of moments. We'll continue some story time with Austen Lane as well. And on the horizon, just a couple hours away now, Doug Pederson will talk at 12:30. And then Trent Baalke talks at 1 o'clock. We'll have a lot of that coming up here on the show. And then more, of course, tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30, our coverage from the NFL Combine with Action Sports Jacks as you look at the draft picks the Jaguars have. That's what this thing is all about, evaluation. Where can you get that 4th, 5th round guy? Some of that evaluation takes place right here. Maybe some of the falling in love with some of these players happens right here in Indianapolis.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
There's never a dull day in Duval. At Action News Jax, we know Jacksonville is so much more than crime stories. That's why we're dedicated to covering every local neighborhood. Real stories told by real people, making a positive impact. Plus, with our fleet of drones, the First Alert Storm Tracker, and our passionate team of reporters,
doing a story about the bad gas that was found here.
You know, if it's happening now and in Jacksonville, it's on. Action News Jax, local coverage you can count on.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
It can be daunting to fix or replace your AC unit. We've done it a couple of times, but it's a better experience because of Bold City Heating and Air. We visited boldcityac.com. They did the rest. There are not a lot of Jacksonville-grown and family-owned air conditioning businesses anymore. Bold City Heating and Air is just that, and it feels like it. They will help you navigate the process with first-class service, and they have no payments, no interest for 12 months right now on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Make sure you're safe and comfortable at home, and let Bold City Heating and Air help. boldcityac.com.
I'm Action News Jack's First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. While the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 143-2579. Well, there's a look at the Jaguars' record last year, blow by blow. Of course, that big winning streak in October at 5 different venues, and then the losing streak to end the year after they got some big wins over the Titans and the Texans. And that's what this time in Indianapolis is kind of about, too. It's how do you find yourself back in the mix? How do you get yourself back in the mix? But you also have to keep an eye on everybody else, too. This isn't just about the Jags. What about the rest of the AFC South? And the Houston Texans have money to play with. They obviously feel pretty good about themselves winning the AFC South. And then there's the Tennessee Titans looking to rebuild things and start over after Mike Vrabel. And where is Indianapolis in all of this? The hometown team here at the NFL Combine. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, the Brent and Austen Show. And there it is from 2010. Looking good as what is this drill?
So this would be basically, it's kind of like a crossover drill. You know, you have to have fast feet, and you're just basically shuffling your feet over the dummies. I'm sure Joe Cullen is leading this drill, yelling his face off. Listen, I know what you're saying, Brent. I mean, obviously the physique is on point, but let's be honest here. I'm looking down at my feet. You don't want to do that. You want to actually look at the ball the entire time of where the coach is telling you to go. So probably docking me a little there. Couldn't have found a better picture. Found really bad form. So appreciate you, Hamby, from the kids' corner over there. But overall, this is an interesting thing because this is more of a linebacker drill, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So I have the D-line vest on. But I also work with linebackers because I wanted to showcase, hey, I'm versatile. I can play linebacker and I can play defensive line. And I'll never forget one of the drills that I did. It was a linebacker, dropping it back into coverage, into zone coverage. I had to read and react and then go attack the ball, intercept it, and then run like 30 yards, the opposite way to score a touchdown. And that was the drill. Well, I don't want to call anybody out who was throwing me the ball, so I'm not going to name his name, but was a quarterback from UK. That's University of Kentucky. Quarterback from University of Kentucky, who I don't think got drafted for good.
Like a quarterback from the UK.
Yeah. Who, by the way, didn't get drafted for good reason. I think. Don't want to call him out there or anything. So he threw the ball, underthrew it to me, so I couldn't catch it. Well, you have to catch a ball and finish a drill. So I'm like, hey, throw the ball to me next time. So we have to go again. I do the drill again. Now he overthrows it. Like, I have no chance of getting it. I jump as high as I can, 34-inch vert, can't get the ball. So then I had to run back and do it a third time, and I go, hey, just throw me the ball, man. And like, because obviously he's under pressure too, so he kind of got all ticked off, and I can't repeat what he said, but he's like, hey, F you, man. I'm like, no, F you. So we go back and forth. I'm like, just throw me the ball. So the third time, drop back into coverage. And keep in mind, I'm tired, man. At least the third time I do the drill in a row. So I drop back into coverage. He finally throws it to me. I catch it, and then I go score the touchdown. But, man, you want to talk about a frustrating experience. I'm just trying to showcase my skills, and you can't even throw me the ball and hit me in the hands? Come on, man.
I love that you were fighting with people even before you got on the practice squad.
Oh, I mean, it was meant to happen, right? Hey, but you know what Coach was saying? Hey, kids got fire. Kids got fire.
That's right.
We like that. We like that.
Fine candidate.
Yeah.
Hey, so this is interesting because you keep bringing this up. Like, you were working as a linebacker and a pass rusher. Which one did you think you were? Because the Jags drafted you as a pass rusher, obviously, defensive end in the fifth round. But what did you think you were?
So, honestly, I enjoyed playing. So, when I say linebacker, obviously I mean like a 3-4 linebacker, right? Like a standing up linebacker. And back in 2010, it was really starting to see the implementation of a 3-4 defense. I remember Houston just switched to it. I think Kansas City was running it. So, I would probably say maybe 6 or 7 teams at that time were running a 3-4 defense, and everybody else was 4-3. So, when I played at Murray State, we played a 4-2-5. And long story short, I would stand up, drop back into coverage, sometimes take my receiver or even a tight end man. So I was used to dropping back into coverage, using my eyes, using my instincts. So I enjoyed that position just because it kind of showcased your athleticism a little more, right? You're standing up, feel you got a little more swag in your step and everything. When I put my hand in the dirt, it was like, all right, I'm probably going to come after the quarterback. I'm probably going to try to stop the run. You know, it kind of pigeonholed you a little more of what you could actually be capable of doing. So I enjoyed the versatility of a 3-4 edge rusher more than a 4-3 defensive end. Now, in this picture, I was probably like 270 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. So it was geared more towards, a 4-3 defensive end just because, like, back then, defensive ends were like 280, sometimes 290. That's just the way that it looked back then because size was obviously important. Now it's more about speed and more about quickness. So while I was hoping to go to a 3-4 team, I kind of saw the writing on the wall as a 4-3 defensive end.
All right. Interesting stuff there. We've got some comments in the chat, so let's try to get to some of them. Daniel will continue to talk about Ridley. Steve Boston talking about JPJ, obviously the center out of Oregon, all the way up to number 9 by one CBS analyst, which is interesting. Seems like there's a lot of momentum for that kid to keep climbing in the draft. We'll see if it actually shakes out that way. A good comment here about slow receivers. Jerry Rice probably ran his 40 on a gravel road in Mississippi if it was 4.71.
Barefoot.
Certainly didn't play that way, right? Steve says a couple of guys locally, and I'll put you on the spot because I'm not very good at this part of the game either. I don't sit there and evaluate every player coming out and don't pretend to. Javon Baker, UCF kid, I just looked him up, over 1,000-yard guy, 7 touchdowns, 6'1", 210-pounder, good route runner according to Steve, and catchability probably in the third round. I mean, that's a little bit more of where the Jaguars could get wide receiver, right? If Ridley doesn't end up on this roster, I think that's the kind of wide receiver you could potentially find.
No, absolutely. I mean, if you're missing out on Ridley here, like, you want to, in my opinion, and once again, we can go back and forth with this. I think we're on the same page here, Brent, with Christian Kirk. He's most suited for the slot. The guy can do everything, but, like, I feel like he has his most success in the slot. So then when we talk about what this team has right now, whether we're going to go the Parker Washington route, whatever, I mean, you still need that long ball threat. Calvin Ridley was kind of brought in to be that guy. He showed glimpses of being that guy. Now, a lot of the times there's a pass interference or him being held, so he didn't have an opportunity to get those long balls. But it's so pivotal in an offense where maybe you don't have like a bona fide number 1A receiver, but you have a guy that can take the top off. Gabe Davis did this we talked about yesterday for the Buffalo Bills. Every team's kind of got that burner that defenses have to respect, that safeties kind of gravitate to a little more. And when you have that burner, it opens up the middle of the field that much more, for like your slots or your traditional, route running wide receivers.
We get UCF mentioned, and, of course, Hamby's ears get perked up. I think he just said something. I don't know what he said exactly. But you got something, Hamby?
Yeah, I was going to say, I got to watch Javon Baker quite a bit, and, if people forget that he was like one of the most highly recruited receivers coming out of a high school and went to Alabama and then transferred to UCF. So he's a guy that has a lot of talent. Watching him, one of the words that come to mind the most for me was dependable. Like, that's who I always wanted to be targeted on third down, and he had definitely the capabilities to stretch the big, the intermediate route into 6. Not, he's not a burner, but he's a guy that, had definitely big playability. He had 800 yards his junior season with 56 catches, and then 52 catches for 2023 last year and almost 1,200 yards. So about the same number of catches, and then about 400 more yards his senior year. And, the guy made a lot of plays. Against Oklahoma, he had one of his best games, which is encouraging because that's one of the better, from a whole college football landscape, Oklahoma's defense is not great, but against the schedule that we played, they do have the most probably talent, or guys at least on the outside. And Javon Baker had 2 touchdowns, I believe, in that game and played really well.
Oh, okay, good stuff. I like it.
Well,
good little scouting report, Hamby.
I like it there, Camby. And obviously when you talk about a wide receiver, one of the biggest things is you have to be dependable, right? We see this all the time with successful offenses. I think of Keenan Allen, a guy with the Chargers. When it's third down, 9 times out of 10, that ball's going to Keenan Allen. And guess what? 9 times out of 10, or maybe 10 times out of 10, he's going to catch it. So when you talk about dependability, especially on third down, I felt like Trevor Lawrence sometimes, I think Christian Kirk was the guy that he was always going to, in those third and long situations. He was a dependable guy. Sometimes Calvin Ridley, but we had some mental errors. We had some false starts. And then when Christian Kirk got injured, Calvin Ridley had to be that guy. And sometimes, he wasn't that guy. So anytime you can bring in a guy who's consistent at the wide receiver position and dependable, you want to do that. You also, did I see too, Braden Fisk from Florida State?
Yeah, that was a question about it. Let's do this. I want to get into Braden Fisk, but I don't want it to go too long. Let's take a break. We'll come back and ask about the Florida State kid who really had a nice Senior Bowl, by the way. So Steve had a question about Braden Fisk, and we can talk about that because defensive tackle might be a spot where the Jags need to get younger and cheaper and find some pretty good talent as well on that defensive interior. We're live at the NFL Combine, 12:30. Doug Pederson talks 1 o'clock. Trent Baalke talks. We'll catch up with both gentlemen for the Jacksonville Jaguars as the front office embarks on a very critical offseason for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Live in Indianapolis at the NFL Combine, the Brent Austin Show on a Tuesday.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Investigative journalism. It's the difference between the Action News Jack style of news and everyone else's.
I'm Ben Becker. This scam is targeting residents on the South Side.
We investigate so you're crystal clear how a story impacts you.
I'm Emily Turner. Take a look at the fine print because you're still getting billed.
Because our reporters don't just tell you what happened. We break down how it affects you and your neighborhood, which is why people are putting their trust in us. Action News Jacks at 5 and 6. It's local coverage you can count on.
Stop by the new car sales event happening right now at Greenway Kia at the Avenues. $500 in a job gets you in a Kia. And Michael Montiero and the staff here at Greenway Kia are here to make it happen. Experience great customer service and become a part of their family. And while you're here, check out the Kia Forte GT line, full of comfort, innovation, and has driver assist technology. And how about the affordable new Kia EV9, the fast-charging, all-new electrical SUV with high-performance capability, 3-row seats with 304 miles of maximum driving range. Over 1,000 new Kia models, some starting at $199 a month. And as always, get the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Come shop at Greenway Kia at the Avenues, located on Phillips Highway. You can shop online at greenwaykiaattheavenues.com. And remember, $500 and a job gets you in a Kia at Greenway Kia at the Avenues.
Before Action News Jackson 5 breaks today's top stories, know this. We're asking the tough questions for you.
Were you targeting the Tebows?
Our team of reporters are relentless,
Do you have anything to say to your former employees?
working to find answers,
If we wait in the parking lot, you'll talk to us on camera.
never stopping,
Have you paid back any money?
so you know what's really going on.
Your own counsel said it was an investigation.
I'm just asking questions. I mean, is it a conflict in your mind?
Action News Jacks at 5. It's local coverage you can count on.
We had a blast swooping with the Ospreys on Saturday night for their scholarship fundraiser, the Blue and Gray Bash. And that night is all about benefiting the student athlete at UNF. Those athletes are in full swing right now. The stretch run of the basketball season, which includes the River City Rumble on Friday night in men's basketball. Baseball and softball season are now underway. Beach volleyball is the next to get rolling, and the golf team is coming off a big stretch, and a successful one at that. Nick Gabrelchek continues to shine, and in a field that included the Florida Gators, the Ospreys golfer won medalist honors. Next up, the Haight Invitational in March at Sawgrass Country Club for the golf team. There's a lot going on at UNF, a good time to see the finish of the winter season and the start of the spring season. Check out the upgrades in facilities and check out the talent on the rosters. UNFOspreys.com for all things University of North Florida. You can get scores, schedules, news, tickets. UNFOspreys.com. And don't forget to swoop with the Ospreys.
Streaming right now on Action News Jacks.
Let's get your morning started.
It's local.
Take a look at this surprising video.
It's breaking. It's weather 24/7.
I gotta keep you guys safe.
It's original.
More trucks, more food.
It's entertaining. Now it's new and free. Everywhere, anytime. Stream Action News Jacks wherever you watch.
Perfect Rack Billiards has a deal for you. 50-cent Wing Fridays during lunch. Get out of work early, get a head start on the weekend, or just take a lunch break. 11:30 until 3 p.m. on Fridays. Every Friday, Perfect Rack Billiards with 50-cent wings for lunch on Fridays. A perfect place to stop in Murray Hill. Play some pool, play some darts, maybe some shuffleboard. Now, that's a heck of a lunch break. And get those 50-cent wings on Friday just to make it better. 11:30 to 3 p.m. on Fridays at Perfect Rack Billiards. Well, there's a look at the Doak in Florida State, home of the Noles in Tallahassee. And I think I keep saying this, and then I got to get an update, but continued work being done at the Doak Campbell Stadium as renovations and upgrades and everything else happens all over college football, including coming off a big-time season for Mike Norvell and the Noles. Can they keep the momentum going? What will it look like after the Jordan Travis era and many other good players? Where does Johnny Wilson fit into the NFL? Just some of the storylines coming out of Florida State. Welcome back here to Indianapolis, everybody. Johnny Wilson, an interesting, measurable guy at the Combine, 6'7". The wingspan's unbelievable. How does he factor into the NFL would be just one of the many questions, and there are a lot of players that have similar questions here in Indianapolis. We are live at the NFL Combine, Brent and Austen Show, here on all the social media channels, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. We got an exciting day coming tomorrow, and with that, it'll be a little bit of trial and error. But download the Action News Jacks Now app, and tomorrow you'll be able to get us there, we believe. That is the plan. Tomorrow being Wednesday, and we will launch the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. And with that, you'll be able to get us on Roku and Google TV and Apple TV, Vizio, Samsung TV, Fire TV, other places. You can also look us up on actionnewsjacks.com as well. And it should be a lot of fun with this network. It's not just going to be our show. As we get further and further down the road, we'll have other content there like Stuart Weber's Cup Date and a lot of high school sports. So stay tuned, more to come. But we'll start with our show launching the network coming up on Wednesday. And that will be the case. We'll just have the show there probably for the first at least week or so. But you got to download the Action News Jacks Now app. That's really the easiest way to make it all happen, and then we'll educate you a little bit more on how to see it in other ways down the road. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane and Jason Hamby. And you mentioned that Florida State video. Hamby, good producing and directing back there because Steve Boston brings up Braden Fisk. He's a defensive tackle out of FSU, and specifically this is for you, Austin. He's an undersized guy, but how does he play in the NFL? Could this be someone the Jags are interested in? He had a really good week out in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, you say undersized, and it's 6'4", 295, and yeah, it's crazy to think that, that can be considered a little on the smaller side in terms of interior defensive linemen. But yeah, usually you got to be pushing 3 bills to be successful. But then I turn to a guy like Aaron Donald and say not so fast. So when you look at Braden Fisk, this is a classic example of what you see on tape versus what you're going to see at the combine in terms of all the drills. On tape, the guy's an absolute beast. Some people thought he actually should have got the player of the game at the Senior Bowl because he was just that dominant, getting held every single play. When you see the athleticism, though, it's like, all right, will he run a good 40? Nah, we'll see. Will he have a good agility, good shuttle? Nah, we'll see. But the tape doesn't lie. And this guy plays with reckless abandonment, and he plays with a motor that doesn't stop. And when coaches see that, man, coaches salivate at the opportunity to coach a guy who is just always go nonstop. And this is who this guy is. I mean, whether it's in the pass game or the run game, the dude just, once that whistle is blown, I mean, he'll stop. But he runs through the whistle sometimes, and it's just he's a beast. So I think with a guy like Braden Fisk, he's a guy you bring in right away. You put him, against the run game. You don't worry about it. In the pass game, you can eventually develop some skill sets. But it's like Joe Cullen used to always tell me, my former defensive line coach, stopping the run is all about attitude and want to. Getting to the passer is more about technique. And he says, we can teach you technique, but we can't teach you the want to. Either you have it or you don't. Braden Fisk has the want to, right? Braden Fisk has the motor. So you could take a guy like that, despite what the numbers are going to show at the combine. Maybe he blows the doors off. Maybe he runs this great 40-yard dash time and all this stuff, and maybe I'm wrong with that. But when you take his want to, when you take just that motor, coaches see that and say, we can work with that. We can win with that. Let's develop his skill set a little more. So, yeah, I mean, if it comes to the right spot, I'd be excited for Braden Fisk, absolutely.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to play around with. Obviously, listen, we like names that we're familiar with. We've seen in action a little bit. He played really well in the bowl game as well. I think it was the bowl game. So, we like that when our eyes have seen it. But the bottom line is there's a big world out there full of a lot of talented players. And, of course, that's up to the Jags to find those and how it relates to a guy like Fisk or somewhere else. But I do think, and I keep coming back to this, the Jaguars are in a spot right now where they need to utilize the draft to get younger and cheaper at certain positions. I think defensive tackle, to me, just screams that out because of the investment in Hamilton, right now Fadakasi, right now Roy Robertson-Harris. They are heavily invested on that defensive interior. They cannot go get somebody else there, Austin. They can't go say, hey, we're going to sign someone else. I don't think they can do that because they've already tied up so many dollars. What happens a lot, I think, with organizations is they basically say, okay, we're going to put X amount of dollars into this position, investment into this position. I would think the Jags are pretty maxed out when it comes to dollars in that spot. So how do you get better? Because I think you might have miscalculated some of the talent that you had. Well, you can't take back the money. So you got to keep those guys. Hopefully they develop, get better, and deliver. But I think the way to even get better at that spot is to draft. So I fully expect a defensive tackle of some sort in this draft for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and likely pretty high in the draft.
I mean, you'd hope so, right? And you hope that guy can come in and make a difference right away. I mean, not to say last year in terms of, the interior, it was lacking. Now, there were some injuries, right? There was some concerns of people being out. Devon Hamilton obviously was suffering something that I'm not sure if we really got the clarification from, but he wasn't 100% himself. So one would think this year, hopefully he's 100% healthy. He can give you more. But you can never have too many defensive linemen, right? Because it's a game of rotation. And especially from the interior where obviously if you're going against a physical team like the Tennessee Titans, you got to hold up to them, right? You have to go blow for blow with them. And if you have guys who are gassed and guys that need a break, whoever you plug and play in there has to do their job as well. So, yeah, this draft is going to be crucial in finding some of those guys. Listen, you don't need a 10-plus sack a year guy at a defensive tackle. You need a guy who's going to be dependable, be in the right gap, be able to stop the run, and, every once in a while provide that interior rush.
Well, yeah, you need the guy. So critical. We all know it now. You need that guy to help the Trayvons and Joshes and collapse things on the interior and move that quarterback off the spot and get a more consistent push in the middle. But first off, do your job of stopping the run. And the Jags at times have been very good with this group over the last couple of years, and then other times they just weren't. And what I chalk that up to is inconsistency. I mean, at the end of the day, they're too inconsistent. I don't know what their defensive tackles are going to do game in and game out, and that's a problem. We got to know more. You should be able to rely on a little bit more from that spot. So I think that's an intriguing spot. I like the question about Fisk. I think he's an interesting player there for the Jags, but the bottom line is I look at it as more positional. Your job as Trent Baalke, not you, Austen Lane, or Jason Hamby, or you listening and watching, Trent Baalke's job is to find the right guy, the best value guy, the guy that's going to make a difference, and that is obviously up to him. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. We are at I am at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, Indiana, and a little more than an hour from now, we'll hear from Doug Pederson and then Trent Baalke at 1 o'clock, and we'll have that for you. Hopefully a little bit of it here on the show on the back end as we take you until 1 o'clock, but definitely tonight on TV, and then we break it all down tomorrow, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m., everything that was said here on a Tuesday from the Combine. All right, Austin, I love this day to really dive into the Combine because you're a guy that's done it. You've already shared some of your stories from the linebacker position to the pass rush position to being prodded by the medical folks to hanging out in your underwear, all that stuff, right? But then there's a different side of it. There's the mental side of it. How much are they trying to stress out the mental side of these athletes? And is it telling? Is it worth what they try to do or have tried to do over the years to find the right mix of player? Is that an important part of this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything, right? Because that's one thing that putting good film out there from college can't show you, and that's your mentality. Now, it can show your mentality in terms of, you don't take plays off, right? You're always running towards the ball. Those things can show that you have a good work ethic. But what they can't show is how you approach the game, right? And this is where the mental side comes in, and it's just as important, if not even more important, than the physical side. So when you talk about the mental side, the whole purpose of the Combine is to get guys at their worst. And when I say their worst, generally at the Combine, you have to get up around, at least when I was there, probably 6 o'clock, 6:30, eat breakfast, get ready to go to meetings and interviews and do testing and things like that. And usually the night before, you have meetings and testing and all that. You're probably done around 11, right? So ideally, you can maybe get 6.5 to 7 hours of sleep. But once again, this is back when I was there in 2010. It could have changed now. 6.5, 7 hours of sleep is not optimal a time for an elite athlete to recover, right? So physically, you're not feeling 100%. Then we talk about the mental taxing of getting asked all these questions, having to do all these written tests, all this psychological evaluation. Well, now you're kind of feeling mentally a little burnt out as well. And the whole purpose of that, and to me, it's one of the only jobs in the country that kind of goes through this whole process of trying to fry a candidate, trying to get them at their worst because they want to see how you respond under pressure. right? So how are you going to respond on 6 hours of sleep when you don't really want to be there, when you're just kind of dragged out and you're tired? How do you respond to the questions then, right? Because that's who they can tell what your mentality is all about. It's easy in perfect conditions, a lot of sleep, you feel physically 100%, you're going to be in a better mood, right? You're going to be the best version of yourself. Teams at the Combine are not interested in the best version of yourself. Teams at the Combine are interested in how do you handle adversity. So that's where kind of like, the lack of sleep, feeling physically drained come into play. And if you can succeed, if you don't burn out, if you don't, resist what they're trying to do, you can do well for yourself. If you question everything, if you get ticked off at a question, or if you have a bad showing because you're just exhausted, well, then maybe that can hurt your draft stock a little bit. So to me, it's all about the mental taxation and the physical taxation of just not feeling 100%, and how do you respond to that? Because let's be honest, Brent, you've been to tons of training camps. Players in training camp, they don't feel 100%, right? Players during the regular season are not going to feel 100%. It's football. It's a very physically and mentally taxing game, and and coaches and scouts want to see exactly how you respond to those things at the Combine.
Yeah, and I get that. I think what you just said is pretty valuable, right? Because my first thought is like, okay, do we need to see that? Do we need a worn-down athlete to be interviewing in a very uncomfortable spot already, one of their big moments of their life already? There's already enough stuff going on, even if you're well-rested or not. I like what you said about camp, although camp isn't the real season. I like more what you said about the real season, because really 3 weeks in, nobody's 100% anymore in the NFL. It's that violent of a game. So I get some of that. I just don't – I think there are other ways to see that. But I guess by the time you're already on the roster for a camp, it might be too late. I think I would prefer, Austen, that you're well-rested, and I'm getting the guy that is ready to interview and ready to go 100% with everything, clear state of mind. Then I guess the guy that is stressed out so much. I don't know if I need to learn that about this guy at the moment. But they obviously have found it valuable over the years to do that. So what do you think? Do you agree with them wearing you down and the stresses of it, the lack of sleep? Or do you think you could identify talent still and identify personality and identify fit just as well if you would have been well-rested and ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely two schools of thought here, Brent, and I think each side has its pros and cons. I'll say this much about it. I don't agree with everything that goes in the process in terms of, they've changed this now, and once again, we'll talk about this later. I don't agree with everything that goes into in terms of the questioning, right, of the mental aspect of trying to get a player to react because you ask them something that's kind of crazy. I've never been a fan of that because that's not football related, right? Now you're just trying to make a name for yourself or tell the guys at the bar that you go to later that night, like, hey, I asked him this question. You should have saw his response. Like, that's not football. That's just an ego that's out of control. So, like, there's some things that I don't agree with, but I will say this. If I'm trying to evaluate talent and I'm going to spend millions of dollars on somebody, I don't need to see that person at their best. I know who they are at their best. I see it on film. I go by what coaches tell me. Sometimes, scouts will talk to teachers as well, who they're in the classroom. I have a good idea of who you are as a person at your best. I think the true test of a character and the true test of a man is when they do face adversity, is when things aren't going their way. How do they respond to that? And you can respond a million different ways. But to me, it's more telling to someone going through adversity and how they respond as opposed to somebody who's feeling 100% of how they respond. So I lean on the side of making it a little more uncomfortable because that's who you find out who people really are, but at the same time, keeping within reason in terms of how you go about making somebody feel uncomfortable.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. I like that. That's a good explanation. And, I'm sure there's a process like this in a lot of high-profile jobs, and I think that's why they interview process in many high-profile jobs is very rigorous, right? I mean, it's like, really, we're going to do this again, or we're going to take this test, or this personality test, this character test. So I guess in many respects, your time is a little bit shorter here, but you actually do some of those kind of things. So it's an interesting process. I know it's not an exact science, or this would be easy and everybody would hit on all their draft picks. That certainly is not the case, and maybe that's also what makes it great. We don't love it in Jacksonville as much because there's been a lot more misses than hits, it feels like, over the years. But when you do figure it out, when you do hit, it's a separator, because you know not every team is going to be able to hit. You teased it a little bit. Coming up in the 12 o'clock hour, especially when I have to jump out and go get Doug Pederson, you'll share some of those questions, just the crazy stuff of the combine, the things that you might have heard from Austen in the past, but it's worth hearing again. I mean, some of that has changed, we think, about what the questions have been asked because it's become more public. But in 2010, that wasn't the case, and Austen got some of those crazy questions, so that's coming up in just a bit. Let's take a break from the NFL Combine, the Brent and Austen Show here, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. And again, Doug Pederson talks at 12:30. I'll jump out in about an hour for that one. But we continue to talk about the Combine, share some stories. Austen did this process back in 2010, made it to the NFL as a fifth-round draft pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When we come back, more on what the Jaguars could be looking for here in Indianapolis and what they really need to find here in Indianapolis at the NFL Combine 2024.
Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you, so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Bartram branch, the one I usually come to, and they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans, and I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
Start your morning right. Start your morning right.
A new day, a new traffic headache. But Action News Jack's traffic expert, Maritza Ross, is here to guide all kinds of daily drivers, like the traffic dodgers,
Don't worry, I'm going to get you around this mess on I-95.
the side street seekers,
Now you can exit early on 17 due
the
to...
last-minute leavers.
If you're getting a late start this morning, here are your fastest routes.
So let Maritza save you time on Action News Jax this morning.
Start your morning right.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we are a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather going to be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather going to be like?
I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jax.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players. They will take care of you, too. Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville. FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years, and they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area. If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI. Go where all the pros go.
When the sun sets and night begins, Action News Jax is working to bring you the big, important stories at 11 you need to know about.
Live in downtown.
From Orange Park.
From the South Side.
From all over Jacksonville, we keep you informed on local news happening now and get you ready for what's next tomorrow.
Plus, Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish has the area's most accurate forecast to help you plan for the day ahead.
Live at 11, it's worth staying up for CBS 47 Action News Jax.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Coming soon, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Well, there's a look at the Jaguars' home and away schedule this year. Obviously, you got the AFC South, both home and away. And then you got a little bit of that AFC East. Patriots and Jets down in Jacksonville, and you got to go to Buffalo. Remember, that away game was played in London this past year. Well, not going to be the case this time around. And is that in December or what? And you also could get Chicago, where the weather could be a little bit of a factor. So an interesting schedule for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I really don't know how much the schedule matters in the NFL, because you just never know how good anybody's going to be at any given time, even as much as we try to predict it. But it looks like a challenging schedule with the Bills and the Eagles on the road. The Lions, of course, on the road. I mean, those are 3 really good teams. The Dolphins, are they going to be as good? So definitely some challenges in the schedule for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Welcome back, everybody. Brent and Austen Show here live on social media, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And just had Steve ask me as well, what is the specific name of the app for tomorrow's 24/7 network launch? And it's simply Action News Jax Now. Action News Jax Now is the app, which, by the way, millions have already downloaded for news and weather and other things, and you'll be able to find sports on there. You can also go to actionnewsjax.com and find us simply that way. So you can find us every single way. Had somebody tell me today they love the fact that Hamby's putting up that podcast immediately following the show, and that's the way they listen. So I like the idea that you can go check out our podcast wherever we find podcasts. I've seen a sneak peek at a new logo, by the way, Austen Lane, that is going to get updated. So we might have a new logo. We just got a lot of new stuff happening each and every week on the show. We got to keep it fresh.
What are your thoughts about the logo, Brent? Give us a little sampler here, a little appetizer of what you're thinking in terms of how it all turned out.
I like the logo. It took me a second. You know, when you first see, you got to digest it.
Ooh, don't like that. Took him a second. Don't like that, but okay.
Well, well, here's why it took a second, because I like anything new. You know, I'm like, oh, cool. They put some work into it, and I didn't even need to. I was surprised, right? Most things I'm kind of like working on as well, or maybe giving some ideas to. This one I gave 0 ideas. I was just like, hey, what do you think? Can you make us a logo? So I had one minor tweak to the logo, and we'll see the feedback that I get after asking about that tweak. and then we'll surprise you guys as well and see if you have any tweaks. But I think it's pretty simplistic, but also pretty good.
Okay.
You're nervous.
Well, now I am, yeah. I mean, okay, let's do an exercise real quick. Say I'm Trent Baalke. Ask me about the first-round pick of the 2024 draft who I selected.
How was the guy that you selected?
Took a little time to digest. Really, I mean, I had to tweak a couple things. I kind of had to marinate on it a little bit, and really, I like it, but it took some time to digest, so we'll see.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. He's probably right.
Okay. Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, Brent, and I don't care if you guys are homies or not, if Trent Baalke after the first-round pick goes, it took some time to digest, had to tweak some things, we'll see. I'm calling for his job, okay? And I know you guys are homies, but I'm going right to that stadium and said, you're out. I'm going to stage a coup, if you will, Brent. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, I want you to make your own judgments, and Baalke doesn't have that. He's going to make his own judgment and then stand behind it. So this one was not that. I don't want to get in your head, all right?
Too late.
When it comes
Okay.
to the new logo. I guess I already am.
Yeah.
For a guy
Living
as
rent-free
mentally
in
tough
my
as
head
you, I
now.
For a guy as mentally tough as you, I didn't think it would be so easy.
Well, it's our logo, man. Like, I mean, it affects me as well.
Have you liked all the other new looks so far?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this whole thing, this whole setup that we got right now, that we featured this week is fantastic. I like it better now that we have the same size screens because, like I said before, I was in the right corner and it was just a big screen of you. Yeah, this is what we had for the first segment of the show. And, oh, cool, Brent's in Indianapolis and a bunch of people wearing khakis and shirts are behind them. Ooh, riveting. Put me in the right corner. Okay.
I didn't know your ego was that big. We had to shrink the box and get him back on even ground here to take care of the Austin ego. I like it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you have to have a little ego in this business, I figured out. So,
anyway, yeah, I like it. It's funny. I didn't mind our old look at all, which we had carried over from the ESPN 690 days. And shout out to Aaron Schachter. He had basically done that. Him and Casey had worked on it, but I think it was primarily last summer Casey did it, and I liked the old one. But I think with everything launching and new, and I really like this because it's uniform with everything else we do on Action Sports Shacks. So I really do like the look of it and appreciate everybody putting the work into it. And again, we got that next step coming tomorrow, but there's more steps down the road. That's what's fun about a project like this. We're just going to keep growing it, getting bigger and better as we go. We continue to have a good amount of comments in the chat. YB says it seems like every offseason is critical. Well, yeah, I think you wouldn't have a whole draft process and free agency if everyone wasn't critical, right? But that's I actually like what he says there. Is this the same old, same old? And I don't think it is, Austin. Like, I actually do believe this one is different level critical. Now, you go back to the last few years in Jacksonville, you had the number one overall pick and you had a lot of money to spend. Well, that was critical for a different reason. It's the reasoning why I think this one is so important. First of all, let's just take it from a job standpoint. If these guys don't deliver on the field, but obviously this time of year as well to make it better on the field, I doubt they're around much past last year, especially a guy like Baalke. I also think from the Jags are in a position right now where I think I've mentioned the Buffalo Bills. That's a team that comes to mind, where you can get out of the space that you've been in, which has been the bottom, the basement, the cellar. Well, you can get out of that space if you have a good offseason and then go deliver on the field, and now you've won 2 out of 3 years. You've had 3 winning seasons in a row. Now you're making the playoffs in a deep run. You're back on track to where we thought you'd be. You go win the division, and you're better than the Houston Texans. Like, Austin, all those things are in play now. And if you're not in play for that, that means you're most likely in play for the other way, which means going back toward the basement, and that would be unacceptable in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that would be unacceptable. Listen, every offseason is important for various reasons and for different reasons. I think when we're talking about the importance of this offseason and this free agency period, I mean, it's obvious. It's the Josh Allen, Calvin Ridley effect. Now, from Josh Allen's perspective, listen, this team this past decade has had trouble keeping their top-tier talent that they drafted, right? Look no farther than Jalen Ramsey. Arguably one of the best players, if not the best player in franchise history. I won't say best player in franchise history, but, I mean, in terms of that decade, sure, why not? You lose him, you get a couple first-rounders that don't really get to do much with those to replace Jalen Ramsey, and now he's off winning Super Bowls and doing his thing, and we're wondering what happened. You have an opportunity now to make things right with Josh Allen, a guy who said many times that he wants to be here, that he wants to be a Jacksonville Jaguar, who's been great in the community, has not been a distraction in the locker room, and obviously now has performed on the field, having a stellar last season. So it's a big free agency period in terms of you having to resign your guys, specifically Josh Allen, because, well, going forward, you want a guy like that in your locker room. You want a guy like that in your team. And now, yeah, you can franchise tag him, and you can delay this whole thing another year if you really have to. But then you got to ask yourself, what kind of message are you sending his other teammates if you refuse to pay this guy what he thinks and what we all think he's worth? So it's a big free agency period in terms of that. And then obviously with Calvin Ridley as well, are you going to justify, in my opinion, that 1-year rental for a third-round pick? Or are you going to try to keep him another year, a couple more years, and help out Trevor Lawrence as well? So from the standpoint of keeping your top-tier talent and also helping out Trevor Lawrence, yeah, it might be one of the most important free agency periods and most important off seasons of all time.
Yeah, it's again, you can make the case on it, but I like going back to something that we've just talked about so many ways. Just one singular move. How you do this with Josh Allen, how you get that done, when you get that done, what the money looks like. How important is that alone, Austen, do you think, in what it says to the locker room, what it now says to the fan base, who obviously is all on board here, what it says to the rest of the NFL, what it says to Josh, I mean, there's a lot of different things that this one move, which I believe will happen, right? I believe he's going to get tagged. I believe he's going to get extended. I don't know how long it's going to go. I just have like Evan Ingram to go on, which means he might not get the deal done until sometime in the summer, but he eventually gets the deal done. All the different semantics around that one move alone, I think will speak volumes to a lot of different ears, don't you?
No, without a doubt. Like, listen, being a great teammate is wanting to see a teammate get paid, right? I mean, that's at the end of the day, NFL players know what's up, right? You're putting your bodies on the line. It's a tough, grueling sport, and you want to see your brothers, your teammates, even other guys around the league if you're not even their teammate, but you want to see people get paid. And Josh Allen deserves to get paid. So then when you talk about the guys in that locker room, yeah, they're watching how this all plays out. Yeah, they're going to say, all right, is Josh Allen getting treated fairly? Is he getting the money that he's deserved? Because, and I say deserved, earned, not deserved, earned. Because if he doesn't, if this thing drags out, right, if this thing becomes a whole big thing where it's like the Jaguars trying to shortchange him, you're going to franchise tag him, he's going to play in the franchise tag, does he show up to training camp, is he going to be absent, is the locker room leadership going to take a blow because of that? Those are all the things that can happen because, once again, there's a business side and then there's the brotherhood football side. And every player in that locker room, they understand the business side, right? Like, if he doesn't show up, they get it, right? He wants to get his money, doesn't want to get hurt. They understand all of that. But at the same time, players in that locker room and players around the league are going to be looking at, hey, you know what? See how Jacksonville's doing their quote-unquote best player? I don't know how I feel about that team, right? So you got to watch how this whole thing plays out now because not only are people in that locker room watching, but other top free agents around the league or, mid-tier free agents are watching as well. So that's why this Josh Allen thing and how this goes down, and if there's going to be goodwill or ill will, is so important to the future of this organization.
Yeah, I agree. I think this one singular move is pretty important. And, again, you have those. I mean, we might get to the stage we're talking about this very same thing with Trevor Lawrence. But right now Josh Allen is front and center. And the domino effect, the impact is is obviously pretty clear and very loud too. So I think there's a lot of eyes and ears on this. Is there any chance that we're surprised today when Trent Baalke and Doug Pederson talk and there's maybe an update further down the road than we expect? Like, my expectation, I don't know what yours is, Austin, is that, yeah, they've talked. Obviously, we're working on things. We got the franchise tag. Like, they might even basically say, we're most likely going to use the franchise tag because it's pretty obvious anyway. Is there anything else that comes out of today that would we be stunned if it's further down the road than anything I just mentioned?
No, nothing in terms of the deal. You know, I mean, you said this many times, and, like, I don't disagree with you here. Like, this could take some time, right? All the fine print, all the bonuses, whatever you want to call them, all the money up front. Like, it's going to be a big dollar contract, right? And sometimes big dollar contracts can take time to get finished. So I won't be surprised if, you know, they're taking their time with it. But I will be listening to the dialogue in terms of, had there been conversations? What are those conversations like? From Trent Baalke and Doug Pederson as well. Because, honestly, Brent, I mean, we know it's going to be kind of the runaround. Yeah, we've been talking to Josh. You know, we're excited to get a deal done, obviously. And, you know, Calvin, we really like him too. So we'll see what we can do with Calvin. Like, we're not going to see any world-breaking stuff. But mark my words, the headlines that will come from the press conferences coming up are if Trent Baalke and Doug Pederson are not on the same page again. If they're not simpatico. You know, those are where I'll be coming to the show tomorrow then saying, well, here we go again. Because people are not on the same page right now. This is a process that's going to take some time with contracts and everything in the draft process. But the thing I want to see more than anything, Brent, is the head coach of a football team and the GM being on the same page, being in agreement, and working great going forward.
Hey, by the way, it is a massive deal. I mean, this is going to be the first $100 million deal for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the history of their franchise. So I think I have that right. And I think there have been some others that have been pretty close. I think the Calais Campbell was a pretty big one that got into the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, for the overall dollars, high 80s. And I know they at one time had something for Olivier Vernon in like the low 90s as a possibility, and then the Giants went out on those sweepstakes. But $100 million guy for the first time in Jaguars history will be Josh Allen. So it certainly is a big contract and not just a simple, hey, sign right here. You do get that part of the business side. All right, let's take a break here at the NFL Combine. What else to expect? Could Doug Pederson say anything today about calling plays? Should he, will he, would he take back play calling duties in Jacksonville? And would we find something like that out this week, or would that be closer to the season? Will it even happen? Let's talk a little bit more about that when we come back. Brent and Austen Show. We are live at the NFL Combine here in Indianapolis. We're in the convention center right across the way from that building, Lucas Oil Stadium, of course, where the Colts play and where a lot of the drills and festivities will take place as well. So take a break, come back, talk a little more Doug Pederson, play calling, and more here on the Brent and Austen Show.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we are a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
There's never a dull day in Duval. At Action News Jax, we know Jacksonville is so much more than crime stories. That's why we're dedicated to covering every local neighborhood. Real stories told by real people, making a positive impact. Plus, with our fleet of drones, the First Alert Storm Tracker, and our passionate team of reporters,
doing a story about the bad gas that was found here.
You know if it's happening now and in Jacksonville, it's on. Action News Jax. Local coverage you can count on.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, best TV newscast, best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, best news website and best local blog, the Burrish blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
It can be daunting to fix or replace your AC unit. We've done it a couple of times, but it's a better experience because of Bold City Heating and Air. We visited boldcityac.com. They did the rest. There are not a lot of Jacksonville-grown and family-owned air conditioning businesses anymore. Bold City Heating and Air is just that, and it feels like it. They will help you navigate the process with first-class service, and they have no payments, no interest for 12 months right now on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Make sure you're safe and comfortable at home, and let Bold City Heating and Air help. boldcityac.com.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. While the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. Well, there's a look at the Miller Electric Center back in Jacksonville, and, well, Doug Pederson, Trent, Baalke are not there. They are instead here in Indianapolis, Indiana, for the NFL Combine 2024, but a lot of work has to be done inside the Miller Electric Center as well to get this team back to where everybody wants it to be and where they think it can be. Brent Martineau in Indianapolis, Indiana. Austen Lane back in the Action Sports Jax studios with Jason Hamby as well as we continue to rock on from the Combine 2024 as Doug Pederson takes the podium in about 40 minutes or so. Trent Baalke will do the same at 1 o'clock, and so we'll be able to catch up with the Jags head coach and the Jaguars general manager. Will Doug Pederson call plays in 2024? This isn't a should question, by the way. This is a will question. And Austin, I think on a should side of things, everybody would be like, absolutely, right?
Correct, yes. Now, Willie. Let me ask you this, Brent. If Doug Pederson, let's say the Jaguars go 500. Or no, you can't go 500, right? So, okay, let's say they go, what they go last year? I'm sorry, 9-8? Yeah.
They were 9-8, yeah.
Yeah, 9-8. So let's go a repeat performance. So let's say the Jaguars go 9-8 again this next year and they miss out on the playoffs. Do you think the coaching staff is retained? Or do you think the coaching staff is let go?
I think I feel like knowing Shad, I still think they would probably stay, although there would be this crazy outcry and roar to make a change. Okay. I'm just going to go on the trend here. And now, could you change Trent Baalke? I think there would be some changes, Austin. I just don't know if it would be as the head coach of the football team that had gone 3 straight winning years.
Okay, so then let's go. Let's go make it a little worse, a little more aggressive. Let's go ahead and make it. So let's say the Jaguars go 6 and once again, math is super horrible. But 6-11. Okay, that's grounds for getting rid of everybody, right? Because you underachieve. Yeah. Obviously, go 6-11. Trevor Lawrence probably regressed a little bit. So yeah, you go 6-11, you're not going to keep your job. If you go 7-10, you may not be able to keep your job. If you go 8-9, maybe you're on the burner of losing your job as well. So my point is this. You have to have a successful year to retain your job. At least I feel like that. So if that's the case and you're Doug Pederson, you have to give yourself the best opportunity to be successful, the best opportunity to win games. And I think the Jaguars have a better shot of winning if Doug Pederson is calling the plays. So if it comes down to that, if it's kind of a make-or-break year for Doug Pederson, I would predict that he's probably going to call the plays then.
Interesting. So you think that he might actually take it over. So, again, this was kind of a two-part. I think everybody would be like, yeah, he should, but he could be a different part of it. And I don't think he will. I don't think he's going to backtrack, but I think everything you just said makes a lot of sense to me. There's another thing that makes sense to me, and this is really what I would say from a Shad point of view when you ask this question, is that, listen, Doug, I want you to take over the play calling. Can you please take over the play calling again? You are a Super Bowl winning coach, a Super Bowl play caller, and we were better when you were doing it year 1 versus when Press was doing it year 2. See, I take the whole emotion out of the Press situation. To me, this has nothing to do with Press Taylor. You can think he's great all you want. That's fine. You can think he's bad. Most of the fan base does. But from Doug's situation, this isn't about Press Taylor. If I was Shad Khan, it wouldn't be about him. This is about Doug. And this is saying, hey, would we ask Evan Ingram to play running back if he could do it okay, but he's better at tight end? No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't ask our players to do this. So why wouldn't we put our team in the best position possible when we've got a better play caller, a guy that's won a Super Bowl, that was a magician against Bill Belichick in that Super Bowl, calling plays.
You see,
and has obviously had a long run of success. So, I just think it's a pretty logical place to get to, that if I'm Shad or if I'm this organization, even Doug, it puts me in the best position for my quarterback and offense to be successful.
No, it absolutely does, Brent, and I agree wholeheartedly. And you said it's not about Press Taylor, but it is about Press Taylor. It's about the relationship between Doug Pederson and Press Taylor. They're great friends. And I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that Doug Pederson trusts Press Taylor. And I think that if Doug Pederson was to take over play calling responsibilities, that could almost come across as a knock on Press. And I think, it's one thing if you're just work associates and it's about the business, it's about wins and losses, performance-based business, all of that stuff. That's one thing. But when you bring friendships, and once again, like, I'm not in that locker room. I don't know how good of friends Doug Pederson and Press Taylor are, but I assume they're pretty dang good friends. I think when you start having that friendship intertwined with the wins and losses, that it can kind of dilute things a little more. Now all of a sudden it's like, all right, we want to do what's best for the team, but also, I trust in my friend as well. So I think it does have to do with the friendship. I think it does have to do with the relationship between Doug Pederson and Press Taylor. And I just wonder where it ranks in terms of winning games and where the friendship ranks.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that you bring up, and I don't know if I have a good comparison, but I think we can get carried away with the love affair for Press because of what happened in Philly. In my mind, it's not as, all or nothing with Press Taylor as everybody else says, but I might be wrong. I mean, I get there's been a trend here from the Philly stuff to even him calling plays and the defense of him to be like, hey, he really likes this guy. He really values this guy. But I guess what I have a hard time putting my head around, Austin, in this situation is, let's go back to the Gus Bradley days, right? Like, he legit was really good friends with Todd Wash. Like, really good buddies. But they were like the same age. They had kind of grown up together, coaching ranks, all this stuff, North Dakota, whatever. And so, like, I got that. Like, that one makes sense. I mean, Doug Pederson is like 25 years older than Press Taylor. Like, it's one thing to be, hey, I admire his ability to coach. I think he's going to be really good. I believe in him, all this stuff. And the other thing to be like, hey, I'm going to risk it for the biscuit for my good buddy. You know what I mean? Like, to me, there's a difference here in that. And I don't know if he has to be as loyal. No, it certainly doesn't have to be. But I don't know if this will be categorized that way or if he can just be like, hey, man, this is just in the best interest of our football team. Like, I don't really think that's that hard of a conversation to have. It's not that I don't believe in you. I just think this is the best interest of the football team, and I need to take the pressure off you. The pressure should be on me. Like, I got to deliver offensively. We didn't deliver offensively. That if he's really that good buddies with him, that's really what I'd be saying, is I'm taking it away from you so you don't have to deal with it. Instead, I'll be the one to deal with it.
No, without a doubt. And listen, I'm not going to go on a whistleblowing rampage here and call out people who I think didn't deserve jobs or things like that. I'm not saying this is even in Jacksonville. But I've been on plenty of teams where I've seen position coaches. I've heard stories of coordinators who had a job that they didn't really earn or deserve because they couldn't back it up. But the reason why they had said job is because of a relationship with a head coach, a relationship with a GM.
Yeah.
And that's one of the unsettling truths of the NFL, where we always claim it's a performance-based business and it's wins and losses at the end of the day, and that may be true to a point, but also the best candidates aren't always at their best position that they could be at. The best coordinators sometimes aren't the coordinators, right? Because it comes down to who you know, and who you know sometimes can get you a job without you being the best candidate, and that's just the way the NFL works, and I've seen it firsthand, and it's happened all around the league. So, no, I'm not trying to call foul here on Press Taylor and Doug Pederson by any means. But I'm just saying I think when you have friendships like that, and I get it, man, like you need relationships in the NFL in terms of coaching staffs, in terms of coming from a coaching tree. I get all of that. But my point is that at what point does it get to the point where it's like, are we super concerned about winning games, or is that the top priority, or is the priority maintaining a friendship because I don't want to hurt someone's feelings?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that is, I just I wonder where that is. I think there can be a lot of noise about that stuff. I think there are acquaintances. I think there are friends. I think there are trees. I think there are all that stuff. There's a right way probably internally to do it and not do it. My guess. There's probably some unwritten rules in the coaching world that we might not even understand. But at the end of the day, it is survival of the fittest in the NFL. And the most fit the Jags coaching staff can be is with Doug Pederson calling plays. I think that's pretty apparent. So I don't really care where it comes from. I just think it would be a strong suggestion. If Doug's not thinking of it himself, should be a strong suggestion from ownership as well and people internally, or maybe even a Trevor Lawrence to say, hey, we were good with you doing it. You won a Super Bowl. Like, let's get back to that. And heck, press can be a huge part of this thing too. But let's make sure we do this. and this is the pecking order. I really don't think that's that hard of a conversation. I think it feels a bit logical to me as well on a lot of different levels, as I've already just talked about. Now we get to see if it will happen or not. Noon time news is around the corner. Noon hour is right around the corner. And Doug Pederson talking and maybe answering questions like that is also around the corner. We are live in Indianapolis, Indiana, NFL Combine. I will join Austen for one more segment after we take this time out, and then Austen will share some more stories about some of the insane questioning that sometimes takes place for the athletes here at the NFL Combine, or maybe it doesn't anymore, but it certainly did back in 2010. So we have that part of the story coming up. Still an hour to go until we get to 1 o'clock, but one more segment for me from the Combine, and then I've got to go do some work to get the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars as he talks at 12:30, and then hopefully we catch up with him and Trent Baalke as well, not only for the Brent and Austen show, but also for CBS 47 and Fox 30 all day long on the TV side. We'll be right back live from Indianapolis, Indiana.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we are part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
There's never a dull day in Duval. At Action News Jax, we know Jacksonville is so much more than crime stories. That's why we're dedicated to covering every local neighborhood. Real stories told by real people, making a positive impact. Plus, with our fleet of drones, the First Alert Storm Tracker, and our passionate team of reporters,
Doing a story about the bad gas that was found here.
you know if it's happening now and in Jacksonville, it's on. Action News Jax, local coverage you can count on.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
It can be daunting to fix or replace your AC unit. We've done it a couple of times, but it's a better experience because of Bold City Heating and Air. We visited boldcityac.com. They did the rest. There are not a lot of Jacksonville-grown and family-owned air conditioning businesses anymore. Bold City Heating and Air is just that, and it feels like it. They will help you navigate the process with first-class service, and they have no payments, no interest for 12 months right now on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Make sure you're safe and comfortable at home, and let Bold City Heating and Air help. boldcityac.com.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. While the sun is up, and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jacks This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 143-2579. Hey, there's a look at what's going on here in Indianapolis, Indiana, the NFL Combine, of course, and Doug Pederson getting set to take one of those podiums in just a little bit here at the Convention Center in Indianapolis. Brent and Austen show. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane and Jason Hamby. Noontime news coming up with Hamby in just a bit. More story time with Austen Lane still on the horizon. We might even take you for a little bit of a tour around here in just a moment if we can get things set up to do that. And then we are going to chase down Doug Pederson right about 12:15 or so. We'll need to get set up for his interview session, and then also Trent Baalke as well at 1 o'clock, and Austin will take things from there. Interesting conversation we just had. You can always go back and listen to it and jump in on YouTube, Action Sports Jacks channel. Just subscribe, but also on the podcast, Brent and Austen Show, wherever you find the podcast. But it was all about Doug Pederson. Should he resume play calling duties? Will he do that in 2024? I think the should part is probably a resounding yes for many people. But what about the actual will he do it? And maybe that's a question he gets asked here today at the NFL Combine. Get those stories ready, Austen Lane. As you know, I will tell you this: the NFL Combine, when I've been in the past, not always like this many people. I feel like there's a bunch of people here in Indianapolis this time around. Maybe it's just because the league continues to grow. Maybe it's just because now all the teams send their own websites here, or maybe we were just on a different day. I don't know. But this feels like more people than I remember here in this Radio Row area. I felt like it was pretty quiet the last time I was here.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a testament to the NFL, right? They're always trying to make it a big spectacle, if you will. And the thing about the Combine is it gives you a chance to talk to the coaches and the GMs and everything. And, you know, if some breaking news goes down, if there's some kind of interesting smoke screen being thrown around, like, you want to be at that event to cover it. So I just think, you know, you're more there. It's almost like I don't know. It's almost like you're a storm chaser, right? And you're just waiting to see if that hurricane's gonna touch down or that tornado's gonna touch down. So you're there live in person to break it down if it does.
Yeah, hey, one other thing. We just got this from Z Fortner in the chat. It was interesting going back to the relationship of Doug Pederson and Press Taylor. You know, he said Doug Marrone and Nathaniel Hackett were very close, and Doug eventually let him go. You know, that kind of did show like it's a survival of the fittest business, right? And sometimes you even got to cut bait with your buddies, and I'm not sure they're much buddies anymore or not. I don't know how that part works.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we talk about relationships, man. I mean, there comes to a point where just because you guys are great friends doesn't mean the results speak for themselves, right? So if you're not winning games, if you're not being successful, yeah, changes have to be made, because if changes don't be made, people start wondering, like, well, what's the overall plan then? Are we just trying to be best friends? Or are we trying to win football games? So it is about finding that balance, right? And listen, it's like I've said, I played with great coaches, and I played with coaches where I thought, man, how did you get a job? At the end of the day, as long as you're winning games, and I'm holding out hope that that's going to always be the deciding factor, right, of winning ball games. Now, keep in mind, if we're talking about coordinators and coaches and relationships, well, then it comes down to, well, how successful is your offense? Or if you're on defense, how successful is your defense? So it's one of those things. Performance-based business comes first. Wins, losses always come first, and then relationship should come second. And I think Shad Khan sees that. I think Trent Baalke. I think everyone knows that here. I'm just saying that if Doug Pederson chooses not to call plays this year, then you might see a little bit of, well, hey, what's going on? Because we feel like you're a better team when you do call the plays. But also, on the flip side of that coin, keep in mind of this as well. When you add something, you're taking something away. So if you're Doug Pederson and you say, you know what, I want to call the plays this year. I think we're better suited when I call the plays. I think it helps out Trevor Lawrence when I call the plays. Well, you have to ask yourself, I talked about this before a little bit, then what are you sacrificing if Doug Pederson's calling plays? And to me, and this is how NFL locker rooms work, you're sacrificing on maybe developing a culture, right? Because now your time and energy, instead of going to the overall morale of the team, the overall, identity and culture of a team, is going more towards now the X's and O's of game planning for a team every single week of how your offense is going to run. So if that's the case, and we say, Doug Pederson, we want you calling the plays, well, then we got to ask ourselves, well, do they have the foundational players in that locker room to elevate themselves if Doug Pederson's not there to monitor 24/7 in terms of what the culture is going to be? So, I mean, that's something to take into consideration as well in terms of, do they have the guys in place? Do they have the position coaches in place to also elevate the leadership and elevate the foundation? Or is that Doug Pederson's sole responsibility, and hence he can't call the plays right now?
Yeah, very well said. Hey, I don't know if you can see me, Hamby, if you can get me back on camera or not, but you might already have done that because now I can't see anything. But I'm going to give you guys a little tour of the NFL Combine where we're at. This is like Radio Row right behind me. Actually, the Jags, John Osher and Demetrius Harvey cover the Jags. They're here as well. This is the small contingent from Jacksonville here at the Combine. Hey, Marcel, let's swing over this way a little bit, and you can see right over my left shoulder. I don't want to talk too loud. I'm talking like the golf voice, so I'm not a big distraction for everybody. But Todd Bowles from the Tampa Bay Bucks. So he is over there. And let's continue to walk a little bit. Marcel's got the camera. It's like we're going for a walk, Austin. I know you. If you have any questions, just stop and ask. But there's Radio Row, which is essentially this whole side. And then this is the other side of where we're at here in the convention center. And now you can see, and we'll just let Marcel show you a little bit, but the setup is where all the podiums are across the room. You can see all the tripods and the media lined up, mostly for their specific teams, although there's a bunch of national media here as well, and they might be interested in a certain coach or whoever's up at the podium. Doug's going to take podium 4 at 12:30, which is all the way back of the room toward the left, as we continue to get a little closer to that. And then you've got some of the national folks here from Sirius XM, Marcel, on your right-hand side. And now over I got Marcel going in a couple of different directions, but there's Sirius XM. Spin all the way around, Marcel. Yeah, here we go. You've got CBS Sports. Obviously, you got NBC Sports. And you got some of the national setups going on here as
Marcel,
well.
Can we get another look at Andy Reid without a hat?
Yeah, I mean, can we see, first of all, let's see Andy Reid without a hat there at the podium.
That was a little inside.
I know, right? We don't really get to see that a lot. Can we see Andy Reid with a hat?
We'll get closer. You guys are pretty good. I didn't even know that was Andy Reid. I was looking through a bunch of tripods.
Doing our jobs, it's fun. Handy,
going
to the...
Here we go.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Handy,
going without a hat.
Oh, yeah, there we go. This is the Brent and Austen Action Sports Jacks 24/7 exclusive here. Andy Reid not wearing a hat. Interesting.
Something you don't see every day.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a good head on him. You know, he's got a good scalp. Looks like he keeps it clean, shiny. I like it.
So that's why, by the way, guys, there's a bunch of media right now, probably not just from Kansas City, but all over the national media with all eyes on the Super Bowl champs and Andy Reid. And you can see a big contingent around him. He's the only one going right now. They might have done that one on purpose. It was pretty wild yesterday. We were walking down the street coming back from some dinner, and we got to see you're walking right by guys like Ian Rappaport, Mike Garafolo.
Yeah.
It's like it is really the who's who of covering the NFL right now. So I'm trying to talk in my golf voice, by the way.
You're doing great, Brent. A
A
lot of great fashion choices right now being displayed. A lot of great. Oh, there's Trent Baalke. Oh, look at the hair though on Trent Baalke. Dude said he's trying to make an appearance. Hey, Andy Reid, eat your heart out. Hey, Marcel Robinson, go do a little 360 here with that hair. He's got a nice little slick comb. I don't call it a comb because he's not going bald, but I'm saying like a nice little flow there from Trent Baalke. Okay. Oh, Marcel's walking around a little bit. I like this. Not sure who Trent Baalke's talking to. Oh, he's okay. Well,
that's Cameron Wolf from the NFL Network, by the way.
Okay, gotcha. I'm really interested to see if Trent Baalke reaches for his pocket to pay Brent under the table. If we see this on live camera or not. Stay tuned, everybody. Yeah, Trent seems to be in good spirits here and everything. Hair looks great. Rocking that Oh, he's rocking the T-shirt with the long sleeves under. Is he a coach now too? Okay, I see you with that, Trent. Looking good, man.
Well, it looks like he's going to do a one-on-one interview with the NFL Network right here, guys.
Brent's pissed. Flew all that way to Indy. Can't take care of it. Look at this. He saw Brent, too. He looked right at him. He's like, yeah, you ain't getting no interviews. I want the NFL Network. Hey, Hamby, how mad is Brent Martineau right now? This is like the time we went to go see Trevor Lawrence and Clemson and had to wait in the parking lot for 3 hours. Oh, you hate to see it for Brent Martineau, everybody. Man. But here, Trent, I'm sure
chase down Todd
answers.
McShay that day, by the way.
That's right. Chase down Todd McShay. Brent, does it make you upset, though, when the local media doesn't get a lot of love, and like the big wigs come in and kind of swoop up on the talent, if you will? Or is it like from a standpoint of a guy in your business where it's like you respect it, you respect what the NFL Network does, so it's all good?
Yeah, I get it. I get it's the big platform. It's really their platform, right? I mean, it'd be like the golfers playing at the Players' Championship. It's their event, their course. So you get a little bit of it, and we usually get taken care of when needed. Like we should get a chance to. My understanding is we'll see if it happens. Get Doug Pederson off to the side after he does his podium for a few questions, so we can add a couple other things and get that one-on-one.
And Brent, let's keep our eyes on the prize here too, right? Let's not shortchange the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 app that's coming out on Wednesday, hopefully, in terms of a big platform. All right, we're going toe to toe with the big dogs, and I like our chances. Hey, Brent, I wouldn't bet against us.
I wouldn't bet against us either. I like it.
We're
never going to bet against it. We got to get this guy out of the way, though. So I'm trying to get
who is this dude
here? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's John Dever, the Jags PR guy, but I don't know who the other guy was.
Oh no, yeah, John's a good dude. Oh, there's I know those people.
Yeah, I know those people. I'm trying not to.
Well, it's John Osher. I was like, I gotta find the name real quick. All right.
Yeah, it's John Osher. By the way, I'm like literally like 8 feet now from Trent Baalke, so I'm trying not to talk too loud.
This is amazing.
Don't worry, Trent. Don't worry, Brent. We have your audio boosted all the way so they can still hear you.
Yeah, Brent. Yeah, you're fine. You sound great right
now.
Good deal. Yeah.
Yeah, because I also have headphones on. So last time I was at the NFL Combine, I had headphones on. I'm just sitting there shouting. People are looking at me like, what are you doing? So I'm trying to be cognizant of my surroundings.
So, Brent, what is the schedule looking like for today? It's Trent's going to go first and then Doug Pederson right after, or is Doug Pederson on later today? What can fans expect here?
No, I'm a little surprised, actually, to see Trent out here because I don't think he's going until 1 o'clock, and then Doug's scheduled to go at 12:30 before. So maybe that's been flip-flopped around. But
not on the same page already, Brent. Not on the same page already. Times are getting mixed up. Now Trent Baalke's going first, possibly. I don't like it, Brent. I don't like it one bit.
It's too bad we can't hear all the audio coming from this interview right here. But we definitely have what we would call in the biz B-roll.
Brent, have you had any of the shrimp cocktail yet in Indianapolis while we're waiting for Trent Baalke to make
no shrimp cocktail for me. It was a Yard House last night for a little burger instead.
Okay. Oh,
So there you go.
get in there, Brent. Get in there.
Trent stuff.
Get that Action Sports Jag. Who are these people?
Those are the PR folks. Those are with
the Jaguars.
So
okay, well, yeah, Brent, just go ahead and just get right in there, man. Use that hip mobility and get right in there for an interview real quick. All right, walking around some more here.
Yeah, we're just gonna walk a little. Look at now we get to Doug. Look at here's Doug.
Oh, there's Doug. Man,
they're
he's
making
tall.
the rounds right now.
6'4", 6'5", right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice zoom in right there.
Yeah, that's a good job by Marcel Robinson.
Glasses hanging around the neck, I see. I couldn't quite see the glasses there. Are they? Oh, yeah.
Oh,
there they are. There they are. Yep.
100%.
There they are. Okay, good.
This is riveting stuff here on the Brent and Austen Show.
Well, I'll tell you what. If he has those glasses down by his lower eyes for the first week of the game when he's calling the plays, it'll be riveting stuff for sure. So time will tell. I mean, do you think he's setting a statement here, Brent? No context, having the glasses around the neck. Is he trying to tell us something? Is Doug Pederson calling plays again?
This is an early hint at what he might do on September, whatever the date is.
Brent, I'll tell you right now.
Opener.
If we see Doug Pederson, once again, not sure if he's going first or second now. Hopefully there's communication between him and Trent Baalke. But if we see Doug Pederson at the podium and he puts those glasses on, just, he tilts them a little bit on that bridge of his nose to answer some questions, I may be getting on my motorcycle once again and leading the rally because Doug Pederson's calling plays again. And I'll be leading that charge. So something to watch here for at the NFL Combine.
All right. Well, as Doug wraps it up, we will catch up with him shortly. He's going to the podium in just a bit. How about we do this? We'll take a break here on the Brent and Austen Show. Austin's got stories from the NFL Combine still to come, and then we'll catch up with the Jaguars head coach in just a bit here on the Brent and Austen Show and all day long on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Let's take a timeout back there in Jacksonville, and more from the NFL Combine coming up right after this.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot, any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Investigative journalism. It's the difference between the Action News Jack style of news and everyone else's.
I'm Ben Becker. This scam is targeting residents on the South Side.
We investigate so you're crystal clear how a story impacts you.
I'm Emily Turner. Take a look at the fine print because you're still getting billed.
Because our reporters don't just tell you what happened. We break down how it affects you and your neighborhood, which is why people are putting their trust in us. Action News Jacks at 5 and 6. It's local coverage you can count on.
Stop by the new car sales event happening right now at Greenway Kia at the Avenues. $500 in a job gets you in a Kia. And Michael Montiero and the staff here at Greenway Kia are here to make it happen. Experience great customer service and become a part of their family. And while you're here, check out the Kia Forte GT line, full of comfort, innovation, and has driver assist technology. And how about the affordable new Kia EV9, the fast-charging, all-new electrical SUV with high-performance capability, 3-row seats with 304 miles of maximum driving range. Over 1,000 new Kia models, some starting at $199 a month. And as always, get the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Come shop at Greenway Kia at the Avenues, located on Phillips Highway. You can shop online at greenwaykiaattheavenues.com. And remember, $500 and a job gets you in a Kia at Greenway Kia at the Avenues.
Before Action News Jacks at 5 breaks today's top stories, know this. We're asking the tough questions for you.
Were you targeting the Tebows?
Our team of reporters are relentless,
Do you have anything to say to your former employees?
working to find answers,
If we wait in the parking lot, you'll talk to us on camera.
never stopping,
Have you paid back any money?
so you know what's really going on.
Your own counsel said it was an investigation.
I'm just asking questions. I mean, is it a conflict in your mind?
Action News Jacks at 5. It's local coverage you can count on.
We had a blast swooping with the Ospreys on Saturday night for their scholarship fundraiser, the Blue and Gray Bash. And that night is all about benefiting the student athlete. At UNF, those athletes are in full swing right now. The stretch run of the basketball season, which includes the River City Rumble on Friday night in men's basketball. Baseball and softball season are now underway. Beach volleyball is the next to get rolling, and the golf team is coming off a big stretch, and a successful one at that. Nick Gabrowczyk continues to shine, and in a field that included the Florida Gators, the Ospreys golfer won medalist honors. Next up, the Haight Invitational in March at Sawgrass Country Club for the golf team. There's a lot going on at UNF, a good time to see the finish of the winter season and the start of the spring season. Check out the upgrades in facilities and check out the talent on the rosters. UNFOspreys.com for all things University of North Florida. You can get scores, schedules, news, tickets. UNFOspreys.com. And don't forget to swoop with the Ospreys.
Streaming right now on Action News Jacks.
Let's get your morning started.
It's local.
Take a look at this surprising video.
It's breaking. It's weather 24/7.
I gotta keep you guys safe.
It's original.
More trucks, more food.
It's entertaining. Now it's new and free.
Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.
Everywhere, anytime. Stream Action News Jacks wherever you watch.
Perfect Rack Billiards has a deal for you. 50-cent Wing Fridays during lunch. Get out of work early, get a head start on the weekend, or just take a lunch break. 11:30 until 3 p.m. on Fridays. Every Friday, Perfect Rack Billiards with 50-cent wings for lunch on Fridays. A perfect place to stop in Murray Hill, play some pool, play some darts, maybe some shuffleboard. Now, that's a heck of a lunch break. And get those 50-cent wings on Friday just to make it better. 11:30 to 3 p.m. on Fridays at Perfect Rack Billiards.
There's the man of the hour, Doug Pederson, getting set to take the podium here. We think. Saw Trent Baalke as well. Hamby, going to the kids' corner real quick. Are you a little concerned because they didn't walk out together? You know, in terms of being on the same page. Like, listen, if there's questions of, from the last press conference, if there's complete transparency, people on the same page, I'm holding Trent Baalke's hand if I'm Doug Pederson. I'm walking out together. We're wearing the same thing, kind of like stepbrothers a little bit. We're going to color coordinate our outfits.
Matching outfits.
And we're going to be on the same page. You got to be, man, because you got to send the message to the fans like, hey, there's nothing to worry about. We're on the same page here, and we're ready to win some ball games. Welcome back to Brent and Austen here in the final hour. Brent Martineau live at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. So me and the kid himself, Jason Hamby, holding it down for everybody back here. Super fun segment, last segment of just
a walk and talk.
Just a walk and talk. Brent trying to be professional as ever because, hey, Brent Martineau is a true professional. And me, not so much, breaking down everybody. Listen, man, people don't understand that when you have people talk in your ear, how hard it is to focus. Right. And I know I wasn't making Brent Martineau's job easy by doing that, but the dude is just – he's been doing it for a while, man. He has his 10,000 reps. He's a complete pro. I just wish that he didn't get the cold shoulder from Trent Baalke as Trent Baalke went to go talk to the NFL Network, man. We have the 24/7 app coming out, Brent. Get in there, get that interview, man. But it is what it is. In honor of Brent Martineau too, Hamby, it's only right that we have to do the news at noon.
Right.
As we should call it, because noontime's not a word, noontime's not a thing. We wouldn't call it the midnight time news. Nah, you would call it the midnight news. So let's go ahead and call this the news at noon with Jason Hamby. Hit that music.
Here we go.
Oh, I like it. Hamby, what do you got for us today?
All right, hey, in the NFL, right, we always talk about the worthiness, the respect around the running back position.
Sure.
Okay? Especially when it comes to them getting their second contracts, right?
Yeah, or lack of respect sometimes for that matter.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So the news out of the NFL, and most of this was expected, but kind of the word is that Tony Pollard, Saquon Barkley, and Josh Jacobs, pretty much no shot that the three of those guys are going to get tagged / re-signed.
Wow.
So there's the potential that three of most likely what you would say easily are three of the top 10 running backs. I would say maybe even 8, depending on what you kind of. I think there's a lot of personal preference when it comes to the kind of top 10 running backs.
Sure.
But let's just say 3 of the top 10 are going to be on the market, unrestricted free agents. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is not a new thing, right? Of course, running backs not getting that big contract because of the injuries, because of of how often we see guys like Pacheco or just these random guys that you see get drafted or signed that come out of nowhere and do the job. So it's just really interesting that that much talent could be just out on the market.
Man, you're not wrong, Hamby, and it's so baffling to me too at the running back position how sometimes these guys can be so disrespected. Now, on the same time, listen, if you need a goal line back, you need a guy that's like a 220-pound, bruiser. Those guys you can find, right? You can find them later on in the draft. You can find them in free agency. I get that. We talk about a guy like Saquon Barkley, who, once again, if healthy, is definitely a top 5 running back. And the guy who's so dynamic, so explosive, who's an ultimate weapon, who's touching the ball, maybe 25 times a game in the run game or 20 times a game in the run game, and then also, go and tack on maybe 5 or 6 receptions from there. These guys have their fingerprints all over the game, but I can't believe they get so disrespected still. Look at what Christian McCaffrey did for San Francisco. Now, arguably, he's the best, running back in the game. I know there's a difference there, but anytime you can add a dynamic playmaker like McCaffrey, like Saquon Barkley. I don't want to call Derrick Henry dynamic because in the pass game, he's not utilized as much, but he's still a big influence, when he played for the Tennessee Titans. Bijan Robinson, another example of a guy who's just, touching the ball 25 times a game and then getting, 10 receptions when Arthur Smith wants to use him. But nevertheless, these guys are all over the game, and they're not getting paid as such because people want to say they're replaceable. They're not replaceable. These dynamic playmakers, they're generational, they're anomalies, and they need to be treated as such. I get it. Dallas got all pissed off because they spent so much money on Zeke Elliott, and they got burned because of it, all right? Zeke Elliott, to me, was never necessarily that dynamic, can give you 100 yards in the receiving game. Saquon can. Bijan Robinson can. Christian McCaffrey has. So with that being said, there has to be 2 tiers here, Ham. I'll let you finish here. There's got to be a tier of okay, your standard running back. Is he a third down back? Is he a first and second goal line type of back? Okay. But then there has to be the dynamic star running back as well. And those guys deserve to be in their own tier, and they deserve to be paid as so.
So, you talk about a guy like Zeke, and I know obviously the Cowboys did kind of get burned with his deal. So the franchise tag for these 3 guys would be $12.2 million.
Yeah.
So, that is a lot of money for what is seen as a position where the backup can do the job. Now, if you are coming from your point of view where these guys are such big playmakers and so dynamic that there is no, backup is just going to fill the spot. Mm-hmm. If you're the Cowboys, you look at that $12.2 million tag for a guy like Tony Pollard, is that something that you're going to really kind of consider, even though, again, that's a lot of money for a running back, but the guy, he is a huge part of that offense, even though they do throw the ball a ton.
No, without a doubt. And once again, I look at wide receivers getting, making $21, $22, $24 million a year. And then I'm looking at Saquon, and once again, I'm choosing Saquon Barkley, but I think Tony Pollard can kind of fall in this category as well. Now, granted, he was a fantasy darling to start the season off, kind of drifted at the end. But I look at a guy like Saquon Barkley, who, he's getting 6 targets a game, 7 targets a game, 6 receptions here, 4 receptions. Sometimes 1 receivers. We saw Calvin Ridley go a game with 1 reception. You know, we've seen receivers like Devonta Adams had a game where I think he only had 2 receptions. Right? But here I can see Saquon Barkley, who's a running back, who's getting paid to tote the rock, not necessarily catch the ball, who's having 4 receptions, 6 receptions a game. So when you talk about that, yeah, if you're only talking about 16 or whatever the $1 million for the franchise tag, why wouldn't you keep that guy? Because he adds so much to your team. So it's definitely something that's kind of lost on me. I know that Saquon Barkley, last thing he wants to do is get franchise tagged, and I don't blame him for that. But the negligence and just the disrespect sometimes teams find, because like, oh, we can find you a dime a dozen. When Saquon Barkley's healthy, he's an anomaly.
Right.
When Christian McCaffrey's healthy, he's an anomaly. Now, Tony Pollard, more of a receiving running back. I mean, he can run between the tackles as well. But once again, a guy that can do it all is an anomaly. So pay that guy what he's worth, because you just can't find there's any guys anywhere in the draft, especially towards the later rounds or even in free agency as well. What else you got for us?
I want to take you more to the combine now. We got it's more of a thing definitely in recent years where guys will choose to do select drills and not others, and then guys will just choose to entirely sit out of the combine and elect to do all of their drills and everything at their pro days. So receivers-wise, I wanted to bring this up. So Rome Odunze is going to do it all. But Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors, OSU and LSU, are not.
Yeah.
So Odunze is, and the other two, those are pretty much your unanimous kind of top 3 guys. So Odunze is, the other 2 are not. On the quarterback side, the guys that are throwing are J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, and Spencer Rattler.
Okay.
The guys that are not throwing but will do most of the drills are Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels. So specifically, you talked a lot about earlier in the show about how you can almost see the players almost seem like they're pawns in the game, right? And that it is very controlling and stuff from the brass and the coaches and the scouts and the GMs or whatever. Do you think this is more injury related? Do you think this is a ploy from the players to kind of get back a little bit of control of, hey, your guys are not going to just throw me out there and do what I want to get it. I want to do stuff on my terms. So I'm going to do what I want to do. And I might not even show up at all. You might have to come to my school at my pro day and watch me do my thing there.
So this is a great point, Hamby, and to me it's simple. This is a classic case of a players knowing their worth. Okay, let's go ahead and take Marvin Harrison Jr., the overall #1 receiver out of a very talented draft class this year, right? But he knows his worth. Whatever he does at the combine, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, isn't going to change anything, because you know why? If I'm Marvin Harrison and I have a scout or I have a coach in a meeting ask me, hey, why don't you compete in the combine? My answer is simple. Check the tape.
Right. What else do you need to see?
Why don't you run the 40-yard dash? Oh, check the tape. Why don't you run the shuttle? Oh, that's cool. Check the tape, okay? Because the tape says everything that needs to be said. I'm the #1 receiver, whether you like it or not, so don't question my heart. Don't question what I want to do or not. I'm the #1 receiver. So either you take me or you don't, not my problem. If I'm Marvin Harrison, that's what I'm doing, and that's like a lot of these quarterbacks here too, Hamby. Obviously, you know, in terms of, you mentioned Drake May was sitting out and also Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels.
Spoiler alert, they're probably going 1, 2, and 3 in terms of, you know, the first quarterbacks taken, right? So that's not a surprise to me at all. Now, a guy like Bo Nix, can you go out there, maybe elevate your draft stock a little bit? Michael Penix, people want to get on his release and everything like that. Well, yeah, if you go out there, run a good 40-yard dash, because you can run 2 as well. I mean, now we're talking about a guy who's dynamic, a dual threat type of quarterback. Why not? So there's definitely some things to gain, but if you're like the #1 quarterback or the #1 receiver off the board or the #2, there's not that much to gain. They know their worth, and there's no point in going out there and putting out a performance you don't have to put on. Simple as that.
And do you think that the general manager and all of these guys understand that, or do you think it's like, all right, guys, like, you know, we get it. We know you're the unanimous 1 receiver, Marvin Harrison. We know you're kind of you're pretty much the unanimous 1 quarterback, Caleb Williams. But still, like, just do it. Just do the combine, because that's what it's always been, and just, you know, why you got to make it hard.
So you hear this word a lot, and it's the word compete, right? Players use this all the time in interviews. Coaches use this all the time, and scouts use this all the time as well. And scouts love people who can compete. But scouts also understand what's going on. right? Yeah, you want to see you want to see Marvin Harrison Jr. go out there and compete, right? Because he's a competitor, and it doesn't matter where he's getting drafted. He wants to showcase his skills because he's a competitor. Yeah, okay, great, but he's also a self-aware competitor. So just because they're not out there doing their thing doesn't mean that it's going to rub any organization the wrong way. The organizations understand. Right? Like, this is where player empowerment comes into play a little bit, right? It's not to feel the pressure of, I have to go out there, do my thing, risk injury because I got something to prove. Marvin Harrison, nothing to prove. Caleb Williams, nothing to prove. Drake May, nothing to prove. Now, if they want to go back to their pro days in more of a comfortable setting at their home base where they can perform at their best, then by all means, do that because they've earned that right. Right? When you're a top player in the country, it affords you a couple more luxuries. One of those being you have the right and the say of where you want to do your drills. So if you want to do it back at university, then do it back at university.
All right, and then there's one more thing I wanted to show. Give me 1 second here. This is the combine schedule as far as all right, here's the combine schedule for the players.
All right,
we got Thursday, we got D linemen, linebackers. Friday, defensive backs and tight ends. Saturday, we'll see more of the offense, quarterbacks, receivers, running backs. Sunday, offensive line.
So I'm already pissed off, and I'm gonna tell you why, Hamby. And now you just triggered me. You know, we were good for the news at noon with 2 topics. You had to come with number 3, and now the blood is boiling. Why is my blood boiling? Simply because defensive linemen, linebackers begins at 3 p.m.? Oh, I'm sorry. Are we sleeping in now? Oh, I'm sorry. Are we hitting that snooze button 4 or 5 times? Because I'll tell you what, when it was me, I had to get up at like 6:30, 7 a.m. to go work out at, 10. So this is very interesting, the fact that they're actually starting later. I do wonder, and once again, like, make no mistake about it. I'm all for player safety. I'm glad these guys get a little more chance to sleep in, it seems like, right? And they get a little more chance to rest their bodies. I'm all for that. I wonder, and I'm not sure if it's like a players union thing, but I wonder if someone kind of came forward and said, like, hey, if you want these guys to not risk injuries, not risk, pulling a hamstring, tearing something, an Achilles, whatever the case may be, let's give these guys a little more sleep. And looking at this schedule, that appears to be what's taking part, which I'm all for. Now, I'm jealous, right? I'm jealous they're getting their 8 hours of sleep, but I understand it as well.
There you have it.
Thank you for sharing, man.
There you have it. And I just received word from Brent as we take another live look at Doug P. that we're going to have, after the break, we're going to have him on Trevor and a little sound from him on the offensive line.
Fantastic, man. I love it. Well, then, you know what? Let's go to break right now, Hamby, for the last time of the day. Let me go ahead and take a little break and decompress, scream into a pillow now that these combine players are getting, maybe 12 hours of sleep to go perform. Let's talk about Doug Pederson, what he has to say next here on Brent and Austen.
Here we go.
Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Berkshire branch, the one I usually come to, and they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans, and I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
Start your morning right. Start your morning right.
A new day, a new traffic headache, but Action News Jax traffic expert Maritza Ross is here to guide all kinds of daily drivers, like the traffic dodgers,
Don't worry, I'm going to get you around this mess on I-95.
the side street seekers,
Now you can exit early on 17 due
the
to...
last-minute leavers.
If you're getting a late start this morning, here are your fastest routes.
So let Maritza save you time on Action News Jax this morning.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we are a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather gonna be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather going to be like?
I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jax.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players. They will take care of you, too. Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville. FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years, and they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area. If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI. Go where all the pros go.
When the sun sets and night begins, Action News Jax is working to bring you the big, important stories at 11 you need to know about.
Live in downtown.
From Orange Park.
From the South Side.
From all over Jacksonville, we keep you informed on local news happening now and get you ready for what's next tomorrow.
Plus, Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish has the area's most accurate forecast to help you plan for the day ahead.
Live at 11, it's worth staying up for CBS 47 Action News Jax.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Coming soon, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
There's the cause of all my pain. There's the Miss Pac-Man machine. 25,000, Hamby, is my high score so far. What are you bringing to the table?
I don't believe I played more than a game or two, but it was probably, I think, 12,000.
Okay, well, at least you got, quintuple digits or quintuple digits, whatever. You got over 10,000. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Still chasing that score of 105,290. I'm convinced that Brent just put those numbers in there.
Yeah, he hacked it
somehow because I can't fathom how someone can get that many points unless you play that game. I don't know. You put like 100 hours into it, then possibly. But I don't have the time or patience or just the wherewithal to play Pac-Man more than like once a go around. Like I'll play it once, Hamby, and then I'm done, man.
I mean, yeah, you can just say you have a life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Mr.
Yeah,
Palm.
yeah. I mean, as someone who spent, 3 hours playing maybe some Call of Duty last night, I'm not going to say too much, But yeah, I get what you're saying. Welcome back to Brent and Austin. Brent Martineau right now in Indianapolis. Getting some Doug Pederson, Trent Baalke footage. I'm sure asking the great questions as he always does. So
Looks like he's got him solo right now. We're not going to take the audio, but look at there.
So this is strictly Brent Martineau right now?
It looks like it's just our guy.
Okay. I mean, once again, I'm new to this game, but if I have an exclusive one-on-one interview with Doug Pederson, you better be able to stand right next to him.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm getting in there. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'm sure Brent Martineau will be releasing that in moments time here. Very curious to see, are they on the same page, him and Trent Baalke? What are the goals of this draft coming out? Will he be calling the plays? I think Pederson, I believe at the last press conference, was saying how it's still Press Taylor's job, if I'm not mistaken, to call the plays. So we may not learn much until, obviously the preseason or the first regular season game of the season, but the first regular season game of the season, nice. The first regular game of the season, but nevertheless, it'll be a big story point going forward in terms of who will be calling the plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hamby, question for you, man.
Yes. Do you want to see if we can listen live or no?
Let's go and listen live, man. Forget what I got to say. It's Doug Pederson.
Let's see if we can.
Offseason, the last 6-7 weeks being in the building. Do we have to get better? Yes, we do. Coaches have to get. It starts with us. Listen, it starts with me, and it starts with the coordinators, and then it trickles down. So, my confidence is high. There's still a lot of collaboration with he and I in game, off season, and again, we've got to make sure that we're putting our players right. It's all about the players, and we got to make sure that they're in the best position to go execute. If that means scale back, let's scale back. Let's not have a big volume of stuff, and that's, and to me, that's where it starts.
Doug, at 2018, you established yourself as maybe the best play caller in the game when you won a Super Bowl.
Zoom out.
Doesn't matter how good press is at it. Is this organization better off with you doing it in terms of success?
I think those are things that I need to consider. This offseason, this spring. There were things out of my control that I had to deal with more. The last year, it takes you away from some of that stuff, and I'm not going to get into those, but. So yeah, it's something that I have to, as part of the evaluation process, and I have to evaluate, myself and impress as decision makers and play callers and see what's best for our team.
So much talk about Trevor's turnovers. How do you coach that? You mentioned after the season it's got to improve.
Brent Martineau with the question of the whole.
It has to. I mean, he can't keep, and he knows it, right? He knows it. He can't keep turning the ball over, and we got to protect it, and we will, and we can talk about it. There's a lot of things we can, communicate with him, and you just got to keep going back and showing him the reasons why. This is why you made this decision. This is why the ball came out of your hand. This is why, and show him the whys, and educate him, right? And he'll embrace that, and he'll get better, and look forward to doing that.
Sorry to harp on this, but does that mean you haven't decided whether you are going to call plays or press will call plays in the fall?
I mean, those are, again, I haven't decided, but those are all ongoing conversations that Press and I will have, and go from there.
Does Nielsen give you more confidence?
Hey, Brent didn't come for the shrimp cocktail in Indianapolis, man. Brent's coming for blood, man. I love it. It's like I'm a proud father right now, man. Like, I just, my son, man, this is probably 3-4 weeks ago now. He got a new bike for Christmas, right? Finally took that bad boy out, man. Got him up on it. He was a little scared, a little hesitation, no training wheels. Pushed him. Dude was crushing it, man. He was cruising on the beach. I was so proud of him. That moment right there from Brent Martineau with the back-to-back, over the top, you call him the plays or not. I feel the same sense of pride that I had for my son riding his bike as Brent Martineau did, asking him, pressing him, if you will, pun intended, pressing him on the play calling matters with Doug Pederson and Press Taylor. Hemi, we got any more, or is that about it?
I think we're gonna leave it there, and we're gonna get the rest. We'll hear from him obviously tonight on TV, and then we'll pull off that and we'll show it to you guys tomorrow. I do want to ask you.
I need a cigarette. Hang on. I need a cigarette real quick, man. I got to come down from that because, Doug Pederson, great answer, and Brent Martineau goes, nah.
Right back to
you
it.
ain't off the hook. We're going back for round 2. Everybody else asking him softball questions. You having fun in Indianapolis? How's the shrimp cocktail? Brent Martineau out of nowhere coming in with a, what's up, man? You calling the plays or not? Be real. Hey, the only better part if Brent Martineau would have been, be real, man. You calling the plays or not? But nevertheless, Brent Martineau, chef's kiss, 10 out of 10. Great interview. Sorry to cut you off, Hamby. Please bring it back. What do you got for me?
No, that was. I mean, proud moment.
Yeah, very proud moment. Proud moment. Yep.
Yeah, I want to ask you because we talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the show, the psychological battle of the combine, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this. As Daniel says in the chat, Brent from the top row.
Who you telling, man? Hey, don't let the khakis fool you. I'm telling you, you guys don't understand. Don't let the khakis, all right? Don't let the Skechers shoes fool you. Every once in a while when he's got to, man, that dude can get mean, come off the top rope, and get the questions that we all want to ask ourselves. And he did it there, man. I love that you see Doug Pederson's face? That second question? Oh, Brent had him exactly where he wanted him, man. Hey, I don't know if there's like a Pulitzer Prize for interviews or like it's not like a Nobel Peace Prize.
A journalism award.
Oh, yeah, whatever. A journalism award. Hey, and the following nominees. Oh, first leading off, Brent Martineau in his questioning to Doug Pederson about Press Taylor. Yeah, it's going to be there. Can't wait to see those highlights. Anyway, sorry, Hamby, I cut you off again, but I'm excited. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I love these comments.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal work. From our guy.
Yeah.
Man, we might have to go back and screenshot the face, the reaction. When he realized he was not done on that topic.
Literally me, my freshman year of high school, getting home an hour late, my mom asking me, so where were you? And me thinking, oh, I thought you were sleeping. Like the same reaction, man. Thinking you're off the hook, thinking you're at home base. Nah, man. Mom's still up. She was waiting for you. Nah, man. Brent Martineau, Indianapolis, doing his thing, coming for blood. You'll love to see it.
And it was when after the first one, when the other reporter, whoever it was, asked him, what was Brent thinking?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, going back
you think
again.
You're done?
I didn't come all this way. I didn't come to Indianapolis, Indiana for the shrimp cocktail. I came for blood, and, man, he got it. I love it.
I love it.
Cool.
All right, yeah, so the psychological battle of the combine, the interview process, how they try to stress you out, the questions they ask. The question to you is, what was the most confusing, the weirdest, the most off-the-wall question you received while at the combine?
Yeah, so there's a couple of them real quick, and we're running out of time here, but I'll paraphrase. And listen, when we talk about these scout interviews, right, these combine interviews, it's like a job interview, right? Like that's how I approached it, right? So be professional, be courteous, look them in the eye, shake their hands, things that I was taught as a child, of being a man. So I went in with the premise of, okay, just be myself, be respectful, and we'll be all good. And there's a few times where I'm like, okay, I'm sitting here. All right, tell us about the scheme that you played. Oh, easy. Yeah, I played in the 4-2-5. I also played in the 3-4 defense, outside linebacker. I can drop back into press coverage. I can do everything, Okay, tell us about your childhood. Oh, your childhood was great from a very small town in Iola, Wisconsin. Played football, basketball, ran track, played some baseball, played ice hockey. Yeah, grew up playing. Oh, great, cool. Do you find your mother attractive? That was just a question that I received in a line of questions that were about football.
Hold on.
And then all of a sudden we threw a curveball.
I need a 20.
I know, right? And then all of a sudden we threw a Brent Martineau 95-mile-per-hour heater at the chin. And I'm like, do I find my mom attractive? And now here's where I was, Hamby. Do I say yes because, I love my mom. I don't find her attractive. But do I say no and then, disrespect my mom? So, I was kind of at a crossroads. And I think I said, no, I don't find my mom attractive. And obviously, I'm kind of, taken back by it a little bit.
Right.
So then the questions keep happening.
Hold on. Can I ask a follow-up there?
Yeah.
Does your mom know that you were asked that question?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she absolutely does.
Okay. Did she give you feedback on your answer?
No, because she was so, taken back by the fact – she's probably listening right now, too, which is funny. She was so taken back by it, she's like, I don't know what I would have said about, just –
Right.
So, so she can completely understand.
And are we allowed to know what team asked you that question?
Nah, I'm not going to rat them out. Might have been the AFC North. I'm not going to rat him out by any means. Might have been the AFC North. Cold weather. I'm not going to rat him out, though. It could have been Cleveland Browns. I'm not going to rat anybody out, Hamby. I don't do that. I'm not going to snitch or anything.
Right.
Might have been cut off a really bad season with the Cleveland Browns. But maybe that's why they got let go and everybody got fired. But anyway, so then keep in mind. So then we're another scout, right?
Mm-hmm.
More questions. What kind of car did you drive in high school? Okay, doesn't pertain to football. Fine, sounds good. Why do you play football? Okay, well, I play because I love it. I played since I was a kid. I want to win a Super Bowl. All right, good question. Good answer. Boxers or briefs?
Oh.
Boxers, man.
Okay.
Cool. And this one really, so at this point, like this is later on in the process, and I'm getting super frustrated now, right? And the one that really sticks out to me as well is somebody asked, if you could kill somebody,
oh gosh,
would you use a knife or a gun? And once again, me being me, and to the point of being fed up, I'm like, this has nothing to do with football. And the scout goes, are you saying you're not coachable? Can you not answer the question? And I go, a gun, man. If I could kill somebody, I guess I'd use a gun. And that's how it went. So it's just, this was a different time, Hamby. Keep in mind, what I purvey this to is that scouts wanted to ask all the crazy stuff because then they had something to say to the other scouts when they're at the bar drinking at night.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of these, is your mom attractive? Boxers or briefs? If you kill somebody, knife or gun. Has nothing to do with football.
Right.
Yeah, you want to throw somebody off their game a little bit and shock them. There's other questions to do that. You don't got to get personal. You don't got to get morbid. Just do better, And I think they have done better. But it goes to show you, NFL scouts are a lot of things. They aren't therapists. They're not psychologists. That's all I'm going to say about that. So that's a great way to end Brent and Austen on the show. Thanks for the question, Hamby. Now we got Trent Baalke. Oh, Trent Baalke already heard about Brent Martineau's questioning, too. He's nervous already. He's got that look in his eye like, man, I got to get Brent Martineau off me. I came here for softballs. I was coming here for some batting practice. And then all of a sudden, Brent Martineau gets on the mound throwing those 100-mile-per-hour chin checkers because someone's crowding the plate. Oh, Trent Baalke, I can't wait, man. Yours is coming next. Compliments of Brent Martineau. For Austen Lane, for Jason Hamby in the Kids Corner, have a good day. Stay casual. A lot to break down tomorrow. We'll see you then.